All right, we are live. Happy New Year to you all. Tonight is a watch along for a film that came out last year, I should say, and that is Wonder Woman 1984. I put together my own league, my own Justice League here tonight to watch this movie, Wonder Woman 1984, and I am excited to bring them here in a bit to introduce themselves. But before we get into this watch along, ladies and gentlemen, make sure if you haven't already to give the video a thumbs up, share the video, bring in all the DC Wonder Woman fans so we can discuss this film. And we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about our positives, some of our criticisms. We're going to be breaking down the future of Wonder Woman, getting into our favorite DCEU films thus far, maybe get into the conversation about some of the criticisms and the controversy on film Twitter that this film had last week and on different outlets, and just the hatred for this beloved character, which blows my mind. But to each his own, but we're going to discuss that as well. So enough of me yapping. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Justice League members one by one. Starting off with a person that has an incredible YouTube channel. She's a host, she's a YouTuber, she's a critic. She has a lot of great opinions about DC. She's a big Zack Snyder Wonder Woman fan. I'm going to bring in Lady Jenevia coming into the stream. How are we doing?
Hi. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. I appreciate you coming on. If you want, please let the people know where they can find you, what your channel is all about. The stage is yours to tell the people what you're all about.
So I'm pretty easy to find across all platforms because my username is always Lady Jenevia. It's very consistent. When I first made all of my accounts, I just kept the same username because I didn't want to have to remember a bunch of different ones, but it ended up working out well for me, I think. So I have my own YouTube channel. You can also find me on Twitter, on Vero, Instagram, a few other ones, I think. So on my channel, I do the reviews, of course, but also I really enjoy doing video essays. I'm actually in the middle of finishing up a script for a new one that I'm really excited about. It's going to be a great way to kick off 2021. It's I don't really want to spoil the topic yet, but it's a topic that is covering a lot of Zack Snyder's films. He's one of my favorite directors. So yeah, you can find a bunch of content on my channel. I have interviews. I used to get panels, videos of panels, but there are no more events. I think I'm talking too much, so I think you should jump back in and
no worries. Hey, this is a talking conversation. I love the Zack Snyder sweater you are wearing and rocking the kind of the Wonder Woman theme of the eyelash there. So I'm loving it, and I'm so glad you can join us tonight. So the next gentleman here, he's been on the channel before. We did a watch along. He has a lot of great takes. This dude is hilarious. He has a great taste in movies and shows and has a great YouTube channel himself. And that is Chris from Taste Take. Man, what's going on, Chris?
What's up? What's up? Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year, man. Hey, no doubt, man. I'm excited to watch this. I know I got a feeling of everyone else's opinion on Wonder Woman, so I'm really excited to know your thoughts on this film, man. But before we get into it, if you want to let the people know where they can find you, a little bit about your channel, the stage is yours, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. I'm new to the YouTube journey. I'm about to be at my year anniversary. I got to find out what date it is. I think it's the 21st of January. So I'm looking for some cupcakes. You can send them to me, E. But you can find me right at Tate's Take. It's on the bottom of the screen here. All my social media is in my About Me page on my YouTube channel. But just like E said, I like to review movies. I like to do TV shows. Besides giving my take on it, I try to give a little background, whether it be some obscure facts about production, actors. If it's a political piece, I don't mind getting, into some debates to get controversial with it. But overall, I just enjoy movies, preferably like comedies and like action hero movies, like superhero movies, like stuff like this. So really excited to watch Wonder Woman again. We'll get into my take on the actual movie, but I did my homework today. I watched Wonder Woman 1 earlier. I watched Justice League, so I'm caught up. I'm fresh about it. So thanks for having me, and I'll swing it back to you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm excited to get that take on Wonder Woman 1984 and some of the DCEU films.
You didn't need to watch Justice League. That's not even Justice League. That's Justice League, and he's a trash human being. So like that film doesn't count for anything.
Zack Snyder's Justice League coming pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we are.
Yeah. And then this next gentleman here, I have had the pleasure to do a lot of collaborations with him this last year, covering different shows, being on various different streams. He's a YouTuber. He's a film critic, a journalist out in LA. He's a great dude. He's a DC fan himself. He loved, well, I don't want to spoil his thoughts on the film. We'll talk about it later, but talking about the one and only Griffin from Film Speak. How we doing, man?
Dude, it's going well over here. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about this movie. I mean, I don't know what anyone else's opinion is on the film, but
I loved it.
I know that. Oh well, we can be friends now. I absolutely loved it. It's so good. So I'm thrilled to talk about it with other people who loved it as well. But yeah, thanks for having me, Elliot. Should be a lot of fun. We do a lot of collabs on my channel, but I never get to come over here, so it's a nice change of pace for sure.
Definitely, man. Hey, man, if you want to tell the people a little bit about your channel and what you do on YouTube and all that fun stuff, man, go right ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So I run the Film Speak channel, and we do obviously movie reviews over there. A little bit more of a deep dive and critical analysis into movies. I do do some video essays as well, starting to get into that a little bit more, movie mashups, TV talk, all that stuff. And then we also do a lot of celebrity interviews over there. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, a little bit more of a thoughtful take on film commentary and whatnot, definitely head on over to the Film Speak channel.
No doubt, ladies and gentlemen. All these wonderful guests, their links are in the bio, so definitely check them out, show them some love and some support. And then last but not least, I had to bring in Wonder Woman herself. She had the opportunity to be on, I don't know if you all saw the clip online. She actually had the opportunity to express her fandom to the one and only Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. I wanted to read her Twitter bio. She is a one-time loser of a local spaghetti eating contest. We'll have to talk about that a little bit later. But she's also in Broadway plays, actor, director, producer. She contributes some of her thoughts to the Film Speak community, talking about the one and only Kaleena. What's going on?
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Doing good. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Yeah, I entered a spaghetti eating contest once, and I lost and basically let down my entire family because we come from a long, long line of Italians, and I was, basically kicked out, and now I'm alone.
Well, now you're a wonderful film critic and you have some great taste in movies. And I'm glad to have you on tonight. If you want to let the people know a little bit about where they can find your content and all that fun stuff, the stage is yours.
Sure. So yeah, Griffin kind of lost his mind and invited me to be a contributor for Film Speak. And so I mostly do interviews over there, which I have a blast with. They're so fun. I recently did coverage of the HBO TV show His Dark Materials. And then from time to time as needed, I'll toss in a review or cover some news or something. Other than that, I'm a film student and, actor, writer, director, whatever. Movies are my life. And I would die if I didn't have them. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. I love it. So as you all can see, we have a wonderful group of Justice League members, people that are fans of films, but more importantly, fans of Wonder Woman. So before we start this 2.5-hour journey, just kind of round table style, starting with Jenevia, if you want to kind of express where you are in the DC fandom and also just kind of your fandom for Wonder Woman.
What do you mean with DC fandom? What do you mean?
Like, are you a fan of the DCEU? Are you happy to where the future is headed, or is it some bumps in the road? Just kind of your general thoughts on.
Oh, yeah. No, I love all of the DCEU films that have come out, except for that abomination in 2017, and all of the nonsense that was happening on set that I'm not going to get into on your show because it'll totally kill the vibes. We don't need to get into that. But yeah, no, I like all of them, and I like how we have such an eclectic group of directors that have been able to come in, and there is sort of a cohesion across a lot of the films, but there's also everybody kind of bringing their own unique style. And I really like the recurring, Zach started this, but other directors have done this as well, this presence of mothers in the DCEU, because that's in Shazam and that's in Aquaman, and Zach didn't direct those films, but it's there's so much creativity, there's so much visual artistry with the world building. We get to see all these different places, and we get to see all these really cool characters and performers that come in and really get to have fun. I love that they got Mark Strong into Shazam. I love Mark Strong, by the way. I'm not going to go on a rant about how much Rock and Rolla needs a sequel, but it does need a sequel. So I'm just going to put that out there to remind everybody. So yeah, no, I love also that we're doing the multiverse. So now it just opens things up even further so that artists can come in and whatever story they want to tell, they can tell it. And hopefully this means that corporate people will stop meddling with artists. Just get the artists that you believe in their vision and their style and just let them go and do the thing. And then if it doesn't work out the way you like it, then just don't bring them back. Why is this so complicated? Anyway, whatever. I've never run a studio before, but like I'm very opinionated, so whatever.
No doubt. Well, I love the passion. I love that you are a fan of DC. And again, fingers crossed for a much brighter future for somewhat of a rocky start for some of the films. But the future's looking bright for this DC universe. What about you, Chris, in regards to your thoughts on the DC universe, your fandom of this universe that started back in 2013 and Man of Steel?
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate DC because overall movies for me, it's about superheroes on number one. But obviously, like Marvel for me is number one, has my heart. I kind of see DC like Apple versus Samsung, and like I'm an Apple dude, and Apple is Marvel, and it wins all the time. But like, it's good if Samsung puts out good stuff. So then there's like competition in the industry. So like, I root for DC, but like Marvel just has so many few like missteps that in the last couple of years, and DC has. It's like you don't know what you're gonna get with each one. Like I was so excited to see Wonder Woman. That was dope. And I know we're going to do rankings later, so I'll save that. But I'm a big fan of just comic book heroes in general. So like I root for DC. It's just, you know, I want them to do well. Yeah. So like everyone that comes out, I want it to be 5 stars. It's not about Marvel versus DC. I just want like good action movies. Like these are awesome stars. We need people like Wonder Woman on screen. Like we need like an Aquaman. That's a different story. We need a Shazam that came out of nowhere. Like we need these to be good. I just want them to get good and keep going the way that they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
That's where I'm at with it.
Awesome. What about you, Kaleena, in regards to your kind of the direction DC's gone, kind of the ups and downs, just kind of where you stand as far as a fan of their content?
Wait, she made a face that makes me want to know what she's going to say.
Are we doing rankings? Because I'm so not prepared for that. And if we're doing rankings, I need to go get like a note.
We'll do that later in the stream. So you have 2.5 hours to compile the list.
You do your spiel. I'm going to get a notepad and come back. So I can actually. I have no idea what my ranking is. So I'm like not ready for that.
Wait, we're ready for it. But Kaleena, yeah, your thoughts on the DC universe and just kind of where you stand with them.
It's here. And that's I have an Avengers tattoo on my thigh. Okay, so I'm definitely like a Marvel person. I literally don't have time to get into my love for Chris Evans, other than I would physically die for him. So no one comes above. But a close second is Wonder Woman. I think the first Wonder Woman is the strongest film that was put out into the DCU. I do admittedly want to revisit Man of Steel. I have not seen Batman versus Superman Ultimate Edition, which I've heard really makes a tremendous difference. So
yeah, because Superman's story is completely restored in it. Sorry, not interrupting you. Carry on.
So I don't necessarily want to give any particular kind of opinion on the DCU, just because I think I have more research to do that would reform my opinion. So fine. I'm glad the movies exist for the people who love them, but kind of like Chris was saying, I'll always be standing on the Marvel side of things before the DCU side.
Hey, I love it. Marvel, DC, I love them all because when one does good, hopefully the next one does better. We can continue to get these great stories. So, Griffin, man, finishing up with you, man, just your thoughts on the DC universe and kind of where your head's at with some of the stuff that they've made in the last 8 years now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets a bad rap sometimes just because of the studio interference that was in the early stages of it, but. I mean, you can't really look at those films, at least like the first couple, and be like, wow, that's like, it's basically a carbon copy of everything that's come before it. It was a bold new direction. I mean, after the Dark Knight trilogy, they needed to go into a different sort of route. They knew what worked, and they kind of built upon that. And they let a guy like Zack Snyder in and let him take hold of like, their $1 billion franchise universe here. And someone who is like he's a polarizing filmmaker for better or worse, but I think it makes for interesting content. And they let him take control of their universe. And, we've had some ups, we've had some downs. Usually the downs come when they don't put all their faith behind the creative people involved. But I think that the highs outweigh the highs of some of the Marvel stuff. And I think the lows are definitely very, very low. But overall, I think the DCEU is just a far more interesting universe overall because you're getting, just really vibrant and eclectic and like unique stories with different artists coming in there. And like, I mean, the MCU wouldn't have made a film like Joker. So it's like, I just think overall it depends on what you like. And I mean, I like stuff from both Marvel and DC, and I think that they both give us great content. But as for the DCEU, I love what they're doing, and I think they're differentiating themselves, and I like that they're not afraid to get weird. So I love it.
Wait, are we including Joker in this ranking? Because that was
just the 9 films within the DC universe. So from Man of Steel all the way down to Wonder Woman, excluding Joker.
Wait, are you not doing the cuts ranked separately? Because BVS and BVS Ultimate are ranked completely differently for me.
Yeah,
BVS Theatrical has no Superman story, like fully. It does not flesh out super. It doesn't make it. I haven't seen that in years.
The theatrical cut of it on your list. So yeah. But
I'm just going to attempt to figure this out, and I'll just explain it. And if it doesn't make any sense to anyone but me, then like I'm really sorry.
I am excited to hear this list. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got a 2.5 hour to get started, a movie to get started. But I don't want to neglect the chat. We got some awesome people in here. Rob makes the cut. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to you as well. Unboxing AJ from AJ Reacts. I love the characters. Hate the film. Hey, to each their own. We're going to definitely get into some of the criticisms and all that stuff from the film. Jay Manley saying what's up to everybody. Happy New Year. Love the videos. So we got a really lively chat. We got super chat actually too. I appreciate it, Daniel. This should be interesting to hear. Hello, Griffin. So got some Griffin lovers in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. So with that being said, are you guys ready to get this movie started on HBO Max? Are we all ready?
I have to get up to press play.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm gonna, for those that are in the chat, those that are watching this on the replay, I'm gonna pull up a little timer here so you guys can know where we are in the film. And let me pull it up here. So I'm gonna do a countdown of 5. So everyone good? We're gonna get this started here in a second. We're good?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pressing play now.
There we go. Playing it.
All right. So I guess one of the first things is, how did you guys feel when you heard the news that Wonder Woman was going to be going straight to HBO as well as playing at the theaters at the same time, starting with Griffin?
Ooh. Yeah, just in terms of just like when I heard that it was going to go to HBO Max over, well, I guess that I was going to do the split release. I mean, I think that was smart. It was, largely, but for this year, people were always pointing to like, oh yeah, like, the movies that are going to streaming aren't that well, or some of the films that went to streaming perform well, and it's like, well, you didn't really have that one big movie that was going to draw in a lot of people. And so I feel like, you needed a big superhero movie to entice people to either sign up for a streaming service or to make a, also, I'm so sorry, I just love Hans Zimmer's score right now. This entire sequence is just fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. It's so good. So scatterbrained. Anyways, no, but that was the thing I was saying. So, like, you didn't have that big, like, blockbuster event movie that was going to streaming that would get people excited, and I feel like this was the film that needed to come out and do that. And so, I mean, we're looking at the numbers now, and they've been excellent. I mean, the movie, they've gained a lot of subscribers. The movie has made over $100 million worldwide right now, which in pandemic times is phenomenal. Yeah. So, like, I thought it was a smart move. Play it in theaters where you can go to theaters. Put it on HBO Max for everyone else who can't go to theaters and can still experience the movie at home. And I think it's been a big success. So clearly it paid off.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Kaleena, did you have any thoughts on, was it a good idea to do the HBO Max TV or at the theater same time type scenario, giving people options? Or I guess is this kind of the future of what we can expect to see beyond 2021 regarding simultaneously releasing things on streaming and at the theaters?
I have a very aggressive opinion about this in favor.
Oh, I love it. Let's hear it.
Film Twitter, I mean, I don't think Film Twitter has ever brought me joy, but I definitely didn't.
Sorry.
I definitely didn't feel it this time around, because I think this is the most practical solution for everybody. You know, there's a lot of
Mhm.
people who live in places where theaters aren't open or have not reopened since the
Yeah.
pandemic. There's people who have families where this is something that could really bond them, but maybe going to the cinema is expensive. There's people who don't feel comfortable going out, and frankly, based on the numbers, none of us really should be going out. But then there's
Yeah.
other people who have certain advantages where the theaters are open. Maybe it's, you know, cinema safe or they're really social distancing. I'm someone who works at a movie theater, currently furloughed, but prior to us being shut down, we were taking really serious precautions to make sure that we were creating a healthy, safe environment where people could still come and enjoy. So I think it was important to take into accountability kind of the masses, because it's so different for everybody geographically, emotionally, whatever. So I think putting it out in theaters for people who felt comfortable and had that kind of accessibility and could therefore maintain like the cinema experience, especially with a big blockbuster superhero film like this. I think any film scored by Zimmer should be heard in a theater first and
Yeah,
foremost.
for
But
sure.
then
Yeah.
to have it for the families, to have it for people at home, or someone like me, like I went and saw it in theaters Christmas Day, and then literally came home and rewatched it again like 2 hours later.
Nice.
So I think it was a brilliant move. The Warner Brothers big decision for 2021 is very messy and complicated, but I'm not opposed to the idea of putting it on a streaming platform and having it in theaters, because frankly, we're not going to be through the pandemic, in my opinion, for another full year. I don't think we're going to see any kind of sense of normalcy until 2022. So I think it's a perfectly fair
Yeah.
compromise that really serves both sides of the argument.
Well said. And Chris, would love to get your thoughts on it, and kind of following up on what Kaleena was just saying. You know, I think it gives people options again. To some people that only see 2 or 3 films a year, they have the opportunity to finally see a film at home in the comfort of their own home. And with the emergence of 75-inch TVs being cheaper than I don't know what nowadays in home theater systems, you don't, as Kaleena said, you don't get the Hans Zimmer effect with the amazing score in a theater, but you still get to enjoy the story and enjoy the characters. And who knows, in 2022 they might re-release the film for a wider audience to see at the theaters. But just kind of your thoughts, Chris, on this whole strategy of putting it on HBO Max, as well as giving the people the option to see it safely at a theater.
Yeah, you can still hear me. I just put the headphones on.
Yeah, loud and clear, man. Yep, all clear.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I agree with everyone. I think it's an awesome compromise, especially for the pandemic. I'm a big fan of the actual movie theater, so I kind of hate having to do this, but I understand needing to do this for the time being. So I don't foresee myself, post-pandemic wanting to watch blockbusters in my house. I'd rather just go and sit down and see it on the big screen. But, for the time being, it's fine. I noticed loading this up on HBO Max that they're giving this in 4K Dolby, which I think is relatively new to HBO Max. So like that's another little bonus, because I don't know about you guys, but the screener from Warner, like you're not getting 4K, or like my copy was just screen. I was just watching it on the TV. So it's like it depreciates the value of and then that's gonna hurt the reviews too. So it's like I know for a fact I would enjoy this movie better in the theaters than it changes the review. So it's like we're just a victim of the time. So like I'm happy that they're even doing it for the fans, and I know that the people at Warner have said over and over, like we just want to be fan centric, and this is a move for the fans. And I think it's all good.
No doubt, man. No, I'm right there with you. And Jenevia, in regards to your thoughts on this streaming opportunity versus movie theaters, were you okay with the decision, or were you like, I hate the idea of what they're doing? But just your thoughts on it. I think your mic's muted. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Before I get into any of that, can I just say that the little actress Lily who plays Baby Diana is a total badass, because she's doing all these stunts herself.
Oh, she's awesome.
Like we haven't even been talking about the movie.
Yeah,
We'll get into
it.
No, listen. I'm not gonna. I like to be vague about where I am, because I'm paranoid about getting murdered. So like I'm not gonna tell you where I am. But my area, the cinema's closed like in March, and they've stayed closed. Anywhere that I normally go has not been open. So I get that people who have the option are going to have more of an attitude because they don't really get it. But also people need to understand about this film specifically, this has been delayed so many times. And even before this year, it was supposed to come out end of 2019. So they needed to get this out, because enough was enough. And when they finally, decided to go through with releasing it, I mean, we were coming off of a year of delaying WB was delaying film after film after film, including this one. So, you know, they can't count on the government. Sorry, again, not trying to hijack your stream and make it into a political thing, but like it's gonna get political. Sorry. They can't trust the government to have it together in a timely manner, because that's not what happened this year. And they have stuff that needs to get released, because that's how the movie industry works, is like they can't pay for new stuff if their stuff isn't being released and making money. So, you know, it was the right choice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's complicated to explain that at all. They have to release their stuff, and they're covering all their bases. And actually, there was an article that came out that said that when Wonder Woman was released, you know, simultaneously in cinemas and on HBO Max, it was actually helping the movie theaters. But people were acting like it was the end of the movie theaters and it was all Wonder Woman 1984's fault. No, just say you hate DC films and leave. Please leave me alone. Sorry.
Well said,
This is caffeine, by the way. This is not alcohol. Not really into alcohol.
Nice.
Speaking of having a bias against DC films, I just think it's interesting how some of the criticisms against this, which I'm sure we'll get into some of the criticisms, you would never hear for like Thor Ragnarok or something like that, a film that is so disjointed in its messaging, and a film that contradicts itself and is like a superficial interpretation of like 80s nostalgia, whereas like this is a very earnest and, you know, authentic interpretation. I mean, you know, obviously this is just my opinion. I'm sure I'm going to piss a lot of people off by saying I hate Thor Ragnarok, but
no, I don't like it either. The Kenneth Branagh did the best Thor film. Like that's not.
Yes,
I will not debate that with anyone. I will not debate that because it's so like infeasible.
Pin that debate for another stream, because I would love to talk about that. But no, what were you saying?
I already made a video I say about Thor 1. I don't want to get into it again. That's like done over in the past. Oh my God, little Diana's upset, and now I'm upset too. I need to
I'm upset because of this stream, and I'm upset that I work for Griffin, who has such garbage.
Listen, we got into a heated Slack discussion yesterday about the MCU, so that was fun.
I muted the hell out of y'all. I pieced out.
That's a good idea. That's a good mute right there.
This message is important. I don't know. I might be out of sync with everyone, but Antiope, she's out here like spitting facts and letting everybody know, like, you can't cheat. You can't be. No true hero is born from lies. Again, I might be out of sync, but like that.
No,
as soon as I heard that line, I was like, that's gonna be the thing that gets her on track, but I don't know how or why, and I'm excited to see. And then I saw it, and I was living, because it was all about listen, it was all about politics, but like we haven't gotten there yet. So
I mean it's go ahead.
What were you saying, Kaleena? Go ahead.
Did you say bad words on your stream or no?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, cool. Just want to know.
You're all good. What were you saying, Griffin, in regards to the Thor Ragnarok DC and all that stuff?
Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, but no, that particular speech right there, where she's talking about the you know, heroes aren't born. So many people have been like, oh, they should, like, as cool as the opening, there's no thematic relevance to like what goes on in the entire film. Like, no, this literally sets up the whole point of the movie. Like, they're like, I just don't understand. Like, it's all there. Like, it's actually very obvious. And I think it's a beautiful way, you know, great little set piece to introduce us to the journey. Nice way of looking back into Diana's childhood, to show that, like, where she came from, and like that she's been taught this lesson before, and that, you know, when she eventually has to make decisions later on in the movie, she makes them because she understands.
But it can be better. Sorry, I'm talking along.
It can be better.
Oh yeah, it can be better. Also, this entire like,
and I'm like getting excited. Sorry.
No, I love it.
No, this entire opening sequence here, like after the title card, is so amazing. It reminded me of like Back to the Future. It was like it was amazing. It is so good.
I'm a big so, and we'll talk about maybe my criticism in regards to these first two opening scenes.
I don't like this opening scene.
The mall scene, I'm not a big fan of, and we'll get into that.
I don't like it.
Kind of going off of what Griffin was saying, this to me was just like, number one, an homage to Wonder Woman, the series. You know, just kind of the campy nature of the character at a certain extent, but also, as we all know, Patty Jenkins is a huge fan of Richard Donner's, you know, Superman, and this is Wonder Woman being a hero, which is something I don't know why people were criticizing the aspects of seeing her do heroic things of an everyday life. I just love seeing all that stuff. The scene in the mall, we'll get to that in a bit, but I love all these bits of her saving a woman falling off a bridge, you know, having a woman almost get hit by a car. This is Wonder Woman being a hero, and I love this moment.
Yeah.
Here.
No, it's very Donner. I mean, this entire movie is very Donner Superman,
Yeah.
but like this part especially, and then also it's very Raimi. Like this reminded me of like some of the openings to like Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, and stuff like that, where they're the hero is already established, and they're sort of just like swinging around doing the thing that they do, and it's just fun. Like it's just like it's campy, it's fun, it knows what it's doing. I mean, it takes place in the '80s, and it's playing into that vibe, so.
So going back to Jenevia, I don't know if you stand with me and everyone in the panel too, in regards to just this, I guess, the execution of this mall scene. Do you guys have any thoughts starting with Jenevia? For one of which we have these these thieves that were hired by Maxwell Lord. We have this black market jewelry. What's your thoughts on just kind of this setting up the dreamstone, the MacGuffin of the film?
I mean, listen, I love Patty Jenkins so much. So like, if she wanted to do it this way, then I fully believe that she should have done it this way.
Sure.
I'm still allowed to be like, it wasn't my thing because it wasn't my thing.
Same.
So the whole kind of like leaning into 80s camp and like borderline slapstick with the gags and it's like kind of the wink to camera type of tone. I don't need that. Yeah. I didn't come to see the sequel to the 2017 film for that. Yeah. So I feel like this would have been better as just a short for the DVD, kind of like the Jack short.
Like a little Marvel short
the
film.
Incredibles, where it's just its own thing, because it's completely like, it doesn't, when Patty explains why she did it, I understand I understand her reasoning, but it's just, listen, I don't have nostalgia for the 80s. I was born in the 90s. So like all the isms of the 80s films that everybody thinks are so great, like it just kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And this just reminds me of all of that. So I don't have the nostalgia for a lot of 80s content that other people do. So I mean, I don't think that it was badly done for like what she wanted to do. I think she did that. But it's just not my like this moment here where there's a small child being dangled and it's like, oh my God, and I'm like emotionally, psychologically invested in like how horrible that is. Yeah. And then it's like beep, 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 like she's coming in and she's like, it's all good. Did it like it just completely undermines the dramatic tension. And I got annoyed, but thankfully this is the only scene that's like that. And immediately after this, it's like, oh, here's Diana and she has unresolved like emotional damage. And I'm like, oh, now we're getting into it. I studied psychology. So like, I look for like the unresolved trauma in all the characters, and they always have it because all people have that. Especially so that's what drives character.
Yeah.
70+ year unresolved emotion.
Literally, like, girl, I get it. Chris Pine is the #1 Chris. I understand that it would be hard to let that go, but like, you need to let it go. It's been decades. You're allowed to get it from someone else. He would want you to. He literally says that to you.
It was her first love. You know, we all had our first loves. I don't know if it spans more than 70 years, but Chris, we'd love to get your thoughts, man, on this mall scene in the Three Stooges here, and just kind of the, like Jenevia said, the kind of campy nature of this scene. Were you a fan of it? Were you gobbling all up, or was it just a little off for you?
Yeah, and just to rewind, I think the opening was like after the opening of the movie, I was like, oh, okay, we're here. Like this is it. Yeah. Anyway, but I agree with Griffin on the 80s piece. I think it was like very Back to the Future. It's like, you know, and that's why like Stranger Things is so popular. Like people love that right now. So it's like, I'm fine with it. But I think what people want more of from DC is the dark nature of the films. And that's kind of like what that's kind of like been their stick for a while. And that's where Dark Knight came and was like, okay, we're here now. Yeah. So I think this kind of cartoony thing throws it off. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's not going to be for everyone, especially for like, you know, the casual fans that are just like, wait a minute, this is not like fucking, you know, the Joker or Batman or whatever. It's like,
why is she killing them? Why is she crushing their heads with her sword?
Yeah, I mean, you're throwing this kid around this teddy bear and stuff. Like, yeah, it's like, it's not for me, but like I get why it's there. Like it's whatever, you know.
I think the interesting thing about the DC films, though, is that they can kind of jump around between tone, you know? I mean, the first Wonder Woman definitely had that. It was more grounded and more serious, and it definitely felt like it belonged in the same universe as Man of Steel and BVS and stuff like this. But I think just like since then, they've sort of moved away to just like each film being its own individual thing. And so like I like that, you know, it's like you get a nice little like war movie with the first one, and then the second one it's like a different flavor, but it's still the thematics are carrying over. It's still the character we know and love. It's just a different sort of way of framing the film, which I didn't really have an issue with that. I think just because of how, you know, Warner Brothers and DC has sort of opened up and been like, well, you know, take, you know, whatever you want to do, however you want to tell this story, feel free to do that.
Oh my God,
I sort of like that.
Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Like,
I mean, that's a great. Yeah, this is a great way too to show us what Wonder Woman's kind of been up to with Etta Candy going with, you know, on the ship with her, and Charlie being a part of her wedding, just still showing that connective tissue to the first one, which I thought was really cool. But Kaleena, what's your thoughts on the mall scene and just kind of I guess the first two scenes, kind of introducing us again to the mascara, going to the mall, and now we're catching up with Diana.
Yeah, I definitely like the intro scene, even though I do feel like 10 minutes was maybe a little excessive. I don't feel like it had to necessarily, like, I like that we saw the entire race. I think that obviously is the point of the scene, to like show everything she went through. Right. But immediately in the first 10 minutes, I was just aware of how long that sequence was. And that happened a couple times during the film. So I think it could have been tightened a little bit. I think it's important. I don't agree with Warner Brothers' initial objection that it should have been removed. And kind of like Jenevia was saying, that whatever Patty felt should be in there. It's her fucking movie. So especially no male studio head has a right to go in and tell her what the fuck to do with her movie. The mall scene I'm kind of indifferent to. Besides, I think literally being the same mall from Stranger Things, just very much had that kind of Stranger Things vibe. I don't fully understand the recent pop culture obsession with going back to the 80s. I think the 80s are fine. I can barely even call myself a 90s baby because I'm like 96, so I'm barely a 90s baby.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
But I agree. I don't necessarily have like a particular affinity for the 80s. So just the film being set in the 80s in general just kind of doesn't mean anything to me, aside from Chris Pine's yellow pants, which does a lot for me, and I won't get into it. The mall scene is what it is. It's campy. I very much got the kind of retro homage aspect of it, and I think that's perfectly fine. I do think that Patty kind of forgot that the 80s was where her movie was set after the first 45 minutes. I think the overall scenery of the film got pretty like diluted after that, but maybe that was an intentional choice on her end. So it's fine. It really doesn't affect me either way.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't think she forgot it was the 80s, because the entire film is calling out the Cold War and Reaganomics. And she's like, I
meant visually, like the color, like only
color palettes,
really in the mall. First 45 minutes, and then after that the visual palette just changed completely.
I agree.
Well, we do get Barbara in the spandex workout gear, which I enjoyed that, because I was like, that's funny, and it makes sense for the story because she needs to figure out how strong she is. So where's she gonna go? To the gym.
Well, that is actually
her own apartment.
A perfect segue to the introduction of Barbara. You know, to each his own regarding accuracy of bringing in the comics. There's like 4 different iterations of the Barbara character, but just kind of, again, round table style, starting with Chris. Just what did you think of the introduction? I think someone even brought it up in the chat, and I know some of the criticism is just kind of how many times can we meet the geek, or what is it? Jaren Talks Movie says the introduction of Barbara is almost beat for beat for Max Dillon with Amazing Spider-Man 2. So just your thoughts, Chris, on the introduction of Barbara meeting Diana for the first time.
Can I interject really quick before we?
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah.
Does anyone else like hate the cheetah shoes thing? That feels like the most obvious.
On the nose.
Here's where the song is gonna go. And I don't know if it was like a little bit below Patty's competition.
I'm right there with you, Kaleena, and I'll give my thoughts on just kind of obviously we'll talk about her transform into cheetah and all that, but maybe creatively where they could have made her be, instead of her gym modelist, maybe being, studying animals and being obsessed with cheetahs maybe. But either way, Chris, your thoughts, man, on Barbara being introduced as this girl who doesn't get any attention, gets ignored by her employer and the guys at work. What's your thoughts on the Barbara introduction?
Yeah, like you said, we've seen it a million times. I have a huge love for Kristen Wiig, so she can get a pass because I like her as a human. But I usually have a hard time with comedians in superhero movies unless the character is kind of funny, like the Riddler type of thing. Like like Jamie Foxx, like it's nonsense. Like this is fine, but it's like I didn't need it, and I didn't need it from her. So it's like it's not a knock against Kristen. She still got a place in my heart. I'm not gonna kick her out for that. But I didn't need it. I didn't need it.
Griffin, man, what's your thoughts on Barbara Minerva and her introduction to this film?
I love it. And actually, just getting ready to type something on the chat. I think it actually has a lot more nuance and characterization than the Max Dillon intro. Like Max is very like obviously a like socially awkward and like very, very just like he went almost like Jamie Foxx almost went too far in a certain direction. And granted, I absolutely love The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I actually do enjoy that character. But I feel like, you know, he was obviously playing into a more cartoony type version of that. Whereas like this to me is just like it's not that like I think people misunderstand like Barbara's whole arc in this film, because I think with her, it's not the film isn't saying that, oh, she's not attractive. She's very nerdy and everything, and so that's why she's jealous of Diana and everything, because she isn't given the attention. It's actually more to do with her lack of confidence. Gaining that confidence.
Sorry to interrupt really quick. The guy who orders the coffee, because I saw someone say this on Twitter. They were like, "What was his consequence?" And the coffee was too hot. I just wanted to put that out there because somebody asked it, and I was like, if anybody's like, "What was the consequence?" He was like, "Ow, too hot." Anyway,
it's all there.
On.
There you go.
You're good. It's all there.
For sure.
So like I liked it, and I liked that they sort of they established this sort of like camaraderie and like, you know, light friendship between the two of them. There was never I don't ever think that there was an obsessiveness from Barbara's end with Diana. She envied the kind of person that she was, because of the confidence that she had, or what she thought was
right.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought that the two of them got along really well, and like, you know, Diana, you know, obviously sees the good in Barbara, and like when they go out for drinks and everything, I think that's like it's a great sort of moment. It shows like Diana is willing to, you know, maybe give other people a chance and like have friends and stuff like that, because she's lived a very lonely life, which is why I absolutely love that that dinner scene where she's just eating alone with the menu, and she like doesn't really, she's like kind of awkward out in social settings, and so
can I jump in really quick? Because there was something that happened that I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to let you finish, but now it already happened, but I want to like talk about it anyway really quick. The part where Diana makes the wish and there's this like little gust of wind that blows her hair is like an amazing callback to the first film when Ludendorff is like doing his war scheming, and then there's wind. They're inside. It's Ares planting the seeds of destruction, and that right there was another mythological god up to no good, and it was the wind in her hair. So I just wanted to point that out.
Hey, you are gonna officially be our Easter egg caller outer. So anytime we get an Easter egg, Jenevia, I want you to call it out for sure, for sure.
Like politically
but
incorrect.
I love this. I love this.
Go ahead, go.
Oh no, sorry. You like cut out a little bit, so like I wasn't sure what you were saying. So, anyways, but no, I love this scene, and the thing I love about Diana is that she's always able to see the value in the good in people. And so it's like, you know, like seeing her make Barbara feel good about like who she is just like it's really sweet.
Definitely. Kaleena, your thoughts on Barbara's introduction and kind of where we are in the film with, we see Diana make the wish. She doesn't say it out loud. It's all in her head. But, you know, we assume
Show don't tell.
Yeah, the dream, you know, it obviously her dream came true. But just your thoughts on Barbara and kind of where we are with this friendship. Did you feel like it was enough, I guess, screen time with these two ladies to develop this kind of friendship and kind of obviously we know what the transition is with Barbara's character a little bit later. But yeah.
Yeah, so first my politically incorrect comment was I just want to say how everyone in this cast is so sexy that it hurts. Everyone is fucking banging. You know what I mean? Everyone
politically incorrect.
It just brings pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know what's incorrect about that, but
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch The Mandalorian, but I'm a little bit late to the Pedro Pascal.
You and Chris, Chris hasn't seen The Mandalorian either.
Look, he's currently my phone background with Oscar Isaac. And so I'm just like super into everything. Moving on. I think aside from the shoe thing, which it's like, it's not a horrible decision, but immediately I stopped thinking about the fact that I was being introduced to a new character, and I was like, really? You're planting a seed with her? Fuck, I get it. Cool.
Oh, did everyone look at the book that the homeless man was reading? If you missed it, go back and rewatch it on your own time and just look at the book. Just look at the book.
Wait, what did it say? Waiting for what?
Gadot.
Okay, got it.
Nice.
No, I like their meeting. I like how much of Barbara's personality we see immediately, and I like how we see how people treat her immediately. I think they were able to kind of immediately set up the character in a really small amount of time. So I have nothing against their meeting. I love their little dinner. Yes.
This guy with I'm just trying to be nice here. I want to like rip his face off and make him eat it. Like he's disgusting. I hate
he gets his later in the film for sure.
Yeah, but can we fast forward to that part? Because like I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I love the dinner scene between the two of them. I for some reason film Twitter like picked this line apart, but I like where Diana says like my life probably isn't what you think it is. And it is a little bit in the syndrome of like, okay, but you've also had like 70 years to process what you've been through, but at the same time it's very true, and especially with her honestly, get over it. The man for everybody else.
I haven't seen it either. I was going to, and then I kept watching other stuff, and then all of a sudden season 2 was airing, and now season 2 is finished, so I'll probably maybe start it I'm really getting into Pedro, so like
he's great.
I'll get to it.
He's a national treasure for sure.
I like that line because obviously Gal is literally one of the most beautiful people that has ever been present on the earth, and so I kind of like that they lean into that a little bit and kind of to a very realistic stereotype that if you're pretty and if you dress nice and if you have a good job, people forget that you're a human being with feelings and that your life has been hard in other ways that maybe just kind of scale differently for other people. So I like their relationship. I think we get good screen time with them. I think they build up enough to make us understand kind of the intensity and then the gravity behind their fallout later. So I like it. Not that
anyone in the hair again. Sorry.
There's the win.
Not that anyone asked, but I kind of land in the middle for this film. Like I don't think any extreme take on this that film Twitter had made sense. It's not my favorite, but I don't think it's a terrible film. And this is my third time watching it. So clearly if I hated it, I wouldn't be on the screen right now.
Yeah, same here. But before we kind of
totally sleep on that interaction between the two of them over lunch or dinner or whatever time of day they were eating, because like with this being the 80s is overrun with just people being archetypes and not actual characters, especially women. So you could have, they're basically on the surface level, you can easily see them as those really tired old archetypes of the really hot vapid girl and the really nerdy girl who needs to physically transform herself to become more like the hot girl so she can be desirable for the validation of men. But that's not even what actually happens, because what you learn is like they both have had their pains and struggles, and it's just like people are people. And also like Patty has been very clear about when it comes to Barbara is like, she's smart, she's pretty. Like when she first, I'm literally watching her where she's like making herself over. Literally all she does is take off that ugly skirt. Her outfit is the exact same. Her hair is the exact same. She doesn't put on any new makeup yet. And even when she does put on makeup, it's super minimal, not like me with my clown face on right now. Like it's so like she has everything going for her, but because she's like wanting validation from the wrong people, AKA men who don't care about her for real, it goes completely wrong. So it's showing that like they're real people. They're not like archetypes.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, people totally sleep on it. I'm so glad she took up that ugly skirt though. It was bothering me.
It was not the best looking skirt, to say the least. But for all those that are either tuning in,
sorry, I got excited. I saw Pedro. I wasn't ready. I forgot he was going to come up already. I've seen this 3 times and I forgot. I don't know how that happened.
And for all those two that are just joining us in the chat or watch this in the replay, let me pull up the clock here so you guys can know where we are. We are now at the point. it can be better. So we are being introduced fully now to Maxwell Lord. So we are right at the 32-minute, 15-second mark of the film. For those that are, like I said, just tuning in or watching this on a replay, we are now getting introduced to Maxwell Lord. Which, speaking of Mr. Pedro and Maxwell Lord, what do you guys, Chris, man? Are you a fan of his portrayal of this? Some people say Trump-esque character.
Trump does not love his children. Stop it.
Yeah, I kind of looked at him more like a Lex Luthor kind of meets a Gordon Gekko type of character. What's your thoughts here on Mr. Pedro, Chris?
Yeah, as much beef I had with the overall movie, and to be fair, I guess I feel kind of like Kaleena. I'm not like so polarizing about it. I'm not crazy like either way, but I thought he was one of the best parts of the movie. I did think he did a really good job, and since I don't watch the show, I don't know much about him, but I thought he did really well. I never thought about the Trump thing. I have to process that for a little. I'm not ready to to co-sign that, but yeah, I thought he was very like disbelievable. Like this is like a dude, and it's like, like it's just like greed of human nature. So it's like this is relevant. This is all relevant.
Definitely.
It's nostril flare. I think that's important.
Yeah, nostril flare.
It's important. If you don't the right time, then we're not going to know your intentions.
It's all in the face.
There's no acting.
But Griffin, what's your thoughts on Mr. Maxwell, man?
Well, first of all, I love him, but I was going to go back to the Trump thing. I don't think it's a 1-for-1 necessarily. Some people are trying to, establish it or just like discern it as. I think it's more like he just represents that ideology, the kind of background that like someone like a Trump would come from. Not like his upbringing, but like the culture that led to someone like that, and like. The way that people would be willing to just like throw out what's most valued to them for like a slogan or like just like a log line or something like that. And so it's like there are parallels to like what's going on today, but it's not like so overtly on the nose, which is why I think it works. Maxwell Lord is definitely more human than that orange thing in the office right now, but yeah, so I don't know, but as for his...
Why does everybody keep bringing Trump into this when this is like such a blatant call out of Reaganomics? Like the beginning of all of like the deregulation, and that's why we have all these billionaires who became billionaires because they exploit people, because they take shortcuts, because they cheat, because they lie. Like it is not subtle at all, and I don't know how everybody is misunderstanding what she's calling out, like because she's not being light-handed at all.
Yeah, but that's because we're a creature of the time. Like we're a creature of like we turn the news and we watch Trump. We don't turn the news and see Reagan. So like you're right, but like that's why people are gonna like no one's like Reagan's not trending right now. Like that's why.
Also, like you can argue that line of thinking and that culture is what led to what we have right now. So it's like she's calling that particular thing out. Which is why and because that's kind of prevalent to like what's going on today. It's like obviously it's easy to sort of make the comparison, but I do agree. It's not like an exact comparison or anything like that. But anyways, but his portrayal is great. Like he knows exactly what kind of movie he's in. He's able to bring the humanity and he's able to bring like this Gene Hackman, like Lex Luthor energy to the portrayal without like, and he never goes overboard or anything. And I think he's just like any other actor probably would have gone too far with the character, would have been too campy, too cartoony. And I think that Pedro just hit that sweet spot perfectly.
Can we also talk about on the subject of Reagan, how the actor they hired for him is bizarre, looks nothing like him, sounds nothing like him, acts
the president.
I didn't presume that it was supposed to be exactly Rick. Oh my god, I love this scene when we're finally seeing past the facade that he's been protecting. Like that's not even who he actually is. This is what's really going on. And also, listen, I can't fact check 80s fashion exactly, but like, does his suit, is that like an 80s style? Because his jacket bothered me for the entire film, where I was like, it doesn't look like it fits him. And I started interpreting it as like, it's symbolic of like he's playing something that isn't authentic to who he is, or maybe that's just like 80s jackets don't fit people, right? Because maybe it's just the shoulders are too big, but they don't have to look like
jackets haven't fit people, like they never fit people in the 80s, the 90s, like the 2000s, like they just started fitting I think like last week. Like, this is on brand for the 80s from what I can tell.
No doubt.
This scene shook me to my core because, first of all, learning that he had a son, I was like, what? And then this entire thing that plays out where he gets exposed and humiliated in front of his son. And it just shook me to my core because I was like, oh my God, that's what's going to drive whatever bad stuff we're about to see him do. That's driving and informing us of like his motivations. And I was like, Patty, you genius. See, I knew, because she had almost worked with Pedro before, but she wasn't able to actually work with him, and she always remembered him, and then he blew up, and she was like, I need to get Pedro in on this. And once she got him, she gave him everything for him to do.
Yeah. Totally agree. And kind of on that point, Kaleena, just your thoughts on having his son Alistair being kind of the humanized the villain to receive to say he's not a traditional, villain wants to rule the world. He, as Jenevia just said, his whole idea of being embarrassed and being picked on as a kid and not being, he wants to be a better father than his dad was. So just kind of your thoughts, Kaleena, on seeing a villain be a little bit more humanized than what we traditionally see.
Do we even want to get into the conversation about like the token inclusion cast member, or are we going to slide past that?
Hey, bring it up.
We need to.
Yeah. Oh God, you're not one of those people, are you? That child is half Latin. He has a Latin father. His name is Lucian Perez.
No, it has nothing to do with the actor. I just feel like in this movie, it feels selective that they have just included performers to kind of just check off a box on their card for the sake of the industry, and that particular.
So why is it that when Asians are put into something, people accuse us of only being there because we're tokens?
Because I feel like the way he was used in the film, I feel like they didn't. I don't know. I obviously his character is like foundational to Maxwell Lord. I just care very much about proper inclusion in film, and so it bothers me when it feels like there was an article too that came out for this film about the way Black characters are used in this film and like what roles they're put in specifically. And I just don't like when it feels like they're put in there just so they're checking off a box. Like, I'm not trying to slam Patty.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Because multi-ethnic families exist. And I know from, like, I talked with the director, Duncan Jones, who did Warcraft. He had to fight the studio to allow him to have a white actor and a Black actor play brother and sister. And they were just like, no, that's not a thing. Like, and he's like, okay, I have a Black sister and I'm white. So what do you mean it's not a thing? So multi-ethnic families absolutely do exist. We never see the mother, but based on the fact that that actor is half Asian and half Latin, the assumption would be that the baby mama is Asian, even though we don't see her. And that is a thing that happens, obviously, since that child who plays that character exists. And also, people adopt, multi-ethnic families exist, whether the child is an orphan or in the system in the US or adopted from overseas. So I find it really insulting that people are accusing what we're finally having like an Asian character that is not there as like where the Asianness of the character is what's defining the character. It's just there and it makes sense and it's part of the story, and people are accusing it of being a token. And I think that's really insulting because like I'm half Asian. I'm not a token. So if I'm in something, I'm there because I deserve to be there.
For sure.
Anyway.
No, that's exactly the kind of like candor I appreciate, and I agree with all the points. And the story with Warcraft, I wasn't aware of, and I agree that that's completely fucked up that something like that would happen. That was just my interpretation. And maybe it's just because in my mind it is something that I try to be conscious of, is like making sure that characters that are minority or are people of color, that what you're saying exactly, that they're not placed in there or defined by their background or their culture or whatever. So it may have just been my interpretation of trying to be like more aware and observant of it. So I definitely didn't mean to insult you personally. It's something that I'm advocating for and maybe just not looking into it the proper way. So I appreciate that conversation because I'm always trying.
And I'm not accusing you of like having a problem against Asians or anything like that. Like the whole point of the panel is to talk about it. So I don't want you thinking like, oh my God, she's so angry, she's so aggressive. No, this is just, I'm very caffeinated and it's also something I feel strongly about. So like, if we can't have a real dialogue about it, like here's the thing. I'm willing to have a dialogue with people on stream that are willing to have a conversation. What I won't do is argue with people on Twitter, because people on Twitter don't want to have a conversation. They just want to fight. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Who are you? You don't even follow me. I'm not arguing with you about insert movie here, whatever it is. Oh my God, this scene, where he like tells her, oh, this is how you don't age. Like they're so, it's so shallow. Like that's what they're bonding over. But it's so smart. Anyway.
No, it's and to that point too, speaking of Twitter and all that fun stuff, guys, if you can't tell already, these are some amazing content creators. They have very great opinions. And again, all their links to their descriptions, their Twitters, or YouTubes, or Instagrams are in the link below. And just kind of a friendly reminder for those that are watching this at home or watch this on the replay. We are now approaching the scene where we see Pedro, or I should say Maxwell, making his plans. He's trying to get that Dreamstone, and we have Miss Wiig. The wish is coming true, and everyone's now kind of paying attention to her, and Maxwell is swooping in to make his move. So kind of checking in with you guys in the film and the chat, as well as on the panel, starting with Chris, man. Kind of where were you at when you're, at this point in the film? I know a lot of people were criticizing the lack of action or whatnot, but these, good character moments, man. Just kind of checking in on, starting with Chris, where are you at now with this film, man, and regarding pros and cons and just kind of where things are headed now?
Yeah, so far when I was watching it, at this point, I don't think I had any crazy complaints. I was grooving with it so far. I'm not crazy about action either. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, oh, I need more action. Like, I'm not like so much like a meathead like that. But, but I can understand like why people who are like more casual fans are upset by the lack of action, especially if you have a sequel. It's like, oh, Wonder Woman Part 1 had so much action. They're going to expect the same thing. I think what I was thinking here, I was like, oh, like she just let this happen like this easily, like without alcohol.
They've set this up though. My God, like they've set this up. They said like she wants validation from men, and it's stupid, and she shouldn't, but she does, and that's like her whole problem. That she's like, one guy gives her some attention, and she's willing to like risk her job. Oh my God, like the clownery, Barbara.
Yeah, because it's like for someone that's so passionate about the antiques and the stuff that she works with, like, and then you're just like, okay, yeah. We just heard her say like, this is so important. We have to make sure we take care of this. And then like 5 minutes later, it's gone.
Yeah.
Because of this dude. And Gal Gadot is like, like Kaleena said, it's not fair.
I love that this conversation is here for a reason, because the first time you're just like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Can you please leave her alone? But it's like that guy comes back into play, and that's how she gets into the White House. It's like, oh, I love when stuff like that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's why he was in the story.
Yeah. Well, and so speaking of, I don't want to say controversial, but definitely
it's controversial. You can say it.
Return, Griffin, man.
It is controversial.
What's your thoughts, man, on this introduction to Steve, man? The Dreamstone and body swap and all that stuff, man.
Be honest. Give us the real, Griffin.
I like it. I mean, I think I just watch any body swap movie. It's the same thing. Also, like the the fact that they think that like Steve and Diana raped this guy is just kind of insane to me, because they never like explicitly said that they had sex. He was up eating Pop-Tarts all night. Like he wasn't boning. Like it's so you're drawing so many lines that aren't really there. So like I don't know, that to me is just like, okay, you're clearly trying to put something in there that's not really supposed to be there. And I liked it. I thought it was a great way of bringing him back. Plus, like the whole point is that she ultimately has to learn to give him up, and to like, because it's wrong, right? He just inhabited this other person's body. That's part of the thing. It's like this other guy's like out in limbo, God knows where. It's really like what happens to the cat and soul. Yeah, exactly. Like
they didn't explain that. They didn't say like, is he still in the body, but like, is he a passive observer to what's going on, or like, does he go to wherever Steve was after he died? Like they just never really told us.
He can't be in the body, because that's the body that the world is seeing. Like the world is not seeing Steve. It's just the regular guy's body. So like I always question like, just why couldn't he just come back normal? Like you took his body.
Trevor back. Yeah.
I would I would agree with that. And I think, yeah, they probably could have gotten the same message across had they not do that. But there's also like a side to it that it's like the fact that he came back and is now inhabiting someone else's body. It's like there's more stakes behind it, right? It's like she's living in a fantasy world, and it's not right? Yeah. And so ultimately she has to do the right thing that makes her the hero, which is giving up Chris Pine in the end, but it's also like helping another person in the process who has been, he's been kicked out of his own body. And so it's there's a bunch of different other like sort of moving parts there. But that's why I kind of like the body swap thing. I don't think listen, are we talking about the fact that Vince Vaughn inhabited the body of like a high school teenager? We're talking about that and all the weird stuff that could have gone with there. No, that's just you're just reading too much into it for absolutely no reason. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's Freaky Friday.
Exactly. Like just a total side techie moment, a sidebar. This scene is lit so beautifully, and it is so hard to set up like target lighting like that. Like the shot of the monument behind them, and the white monument and her white dress being lit and pretty much the rest of the surroundings being dark. That shit is cinematic as hell.
It is. Yeah, and to that point, I would love to get your thoughts on if you were not okay necessarily with the body swap, but just the introduction to bringing Steve Trevor back in regards to, was there any other creative ways you would have liked to see the character brought back? Like we said, the Dreamstone, just literally physically bringing him back, as we see the Dreamstone can do like, magical things. Did you have any issues with the return of Steve Trevor?
Were you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So the thing is, I couldn't have thought of a different way to do it necessarily. So even if it feels a little bit off to me, I feel like I can't even give criticism because I don't have a better solution as to how we could have brought him back. I'm just thrilled Chris Pine is here, period. I do very much wonder, because he makes the specific comment about how after he died, he went somewhere that he can't describe, but it's really nice. I think, a lot of people probably interpret that as some sort of heaven, but I do think it may be a specifically included line of dialogue to also maybe imply where the engineer's soul or body or whatever goes while Steve is inhabiting him. Maybe that's looking into it a little bit too much. Yeah, I did definitely wonder, like, does he have family? He's an engineer. Are people not worried that he's not showing up to work? How did Chris, like, remember where this guy lived and, like, understand the directions of Washington, D.C.? I have, like, a lot of questions that ultimately don't really matter.
Sure.
I think the point of having him come back is to get the audience to have an emotional response to Steve and Diana being reunited. So I think this is one of those exceptions where you can kind of just shut off the brain part and suspend your disbelief a little bit just to enjoy them being back together.
No, well said.
Well, and the thing,
go ahead.
Sorry, just replay. I was just gonna say, well, they're not really back together, right? Because she's with this other guy. It's just the other guy's, like reincarnation and stuff like that. And so it's like, it's just sort of adding into the fact that it's like she's trying to cling on to that one thing that she can't have. And it's costing someone else their life, and it's also not really what she wanted, or it's not the same person. So there are stakes involved there, but yeah.
And something Kaleena said too, which actually this is for further down the stream regarding like Wonder Woman 3. You mentioned that line that Steve mentioned regarding him, going to this kind of in limbo space. I almost kind of took that line, and this is just my DC brain running in regards to.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I love this. Like really quick, I just love that he's doing what everybody always does when you ask that question of like, oh, what if you had 3 wishes, or what if you blah, blah, blah. And everyone's always like, well, this is the loophole. And he went for the loophole. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to like give that moment its flowers, and you can carry on with the point.
No, it's a great point. It's definitely a great point. No, all I was saying was just going off of Kaleena's point in regards to that Steve line. I almost took that as like kind of maybe, I don't know, and this is just Flash movie, Wonder Woman 3, how to bring Steve back to the future is maybe Flash literally got Steve out of the plane from Wonder Woman 1, and that's how you can bring Steve into the present timeline in DC or Wonder Woman 3 or whatnot. So there are so many different ways to bring him back. But in regards to Jenevia, did you have any issues with the bringing?
Oh my God, the fridge door. Sorry. I love that. It's just like, drink.
She's getting those powers. But no, did you have any just your insight on the return of Steve Trevor and any issues with it or any creative outlets of how you would have maybe liked to see him be brought back?
Literally the only man that you would not kick out of bed for putting crumbs into the bed. Like, they literally brought that meme to life. I'm screaming. Well, okay. I think that it gets it when you're trying to pick apart the logistics of like what is or is not happening. It's infinitely harder to figure it out precisely because it's fantasy. Like, body swapping is not a thing that actually exists, and they don't give you all of the information for you to fully like feel like you understand what's happening and who is where. And this is playing on the idea that like a body is not the person. Like, there's an essence of who we are, and that is not like attached to our physical form. Yeah. So then it's like getting into like, here's the thing. I want to make it very clear. I think that the issue of consent, especially when it comes to like consent and around men, like, needs to be talked about a lot more. And while we're on that, and people want to talk about the 80s so much, Back to the Future 1, ew, nasty. Imagine the trauma of being a young teenage boy and your mother is aggressively hitting on you no matter how many times you tell her no. That's disgusting. We want to talk about disgusting. So like, I hate the first Back to the Future. I think it's too many incest jokes and it's not funny. Like, incest isn't funny to me. Sorry. Like, I don't know who thinks that's funny, but like, it's not funny to me. Second one is really good though. Second Back to the Future. I love the neon spandex. Like, of course, it's very like, what is that film with Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta with the like?
Yeah.
Very that.
Exactly what I thought of too. Yeah.
I also want to comment very briefly. Yeah. How I think they really nailed the intimacy of that scene in bed between Steve and Diana, because unfortunately in their final moments later in the film, I don't feel we had that as much. It felt really emotionally similar to their departure from each other in the first film and disappointed me a little bit. But this scene has so many beats, and it's the kind that like you break down in the script, like Patty and Chris and Gal sitting in a room and talking about like, where are the really specific spots in this scene that we're going to hit? Yeah. Something as simple as she wakes up and he says, "Come here," and puts his hands out. Like, that stabbed me in the heart and the face and everything else. And I don't know. I think that's a scene that is really well directed, and Patty deserves credit for that.
Yeah, that's a great call out. I mean, they want to just spend time together. They literally just want to stay in the room for the rest of the time. But we obviously got to figure out how Steve was brought back, which kind of leads us to the figuring everything out in the film. Which again, to those that are just tuning in, and did you have something, Jenevia?
He's so good in this scene when he's like just watching him spin this story to this guy, and he's gonna trick him into making a wish. And then oh my God, I love watching actors play a scene where they're acting, like it's like actingception, and it's so much fun. It's like Orphan Black, but not as complicated. I love that. Like, I love the way he plays that out, because it's the first time we see him do that, and it just completely sets the tone for all the mayhem he's about to unleash, just completely throwing the world into chaos. And that's very mythical though. That's what, like, all those stories about ancient gods, they always just like turn stuff into a problem. They make messes, and then anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a great call out. And it's again, for those that are just tuning in and watching this on the replay, we are approaching the first hour of the film. We're right around 55 minutes with Maxwell Lord. He is now consumed, if you want to call that, or transformed into the Dreamstone, and he's now seeing the powers, and he has the powers at the tip of his fingers. And now a very interesting scene is kind of the tongue-in-cheek, fun nature of Steve Trevor and Diana coming back together with this kind of montage of 80s clothes. Again, I wasn't born in the 80s, so a lot of these choices of clothing wouldn't have been my taste of style, but it's a fun scene nonetheless. It kind of reminds me of the first Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman having ice cream for the first time, and Steve's just like, these clothes are so cool, and this, that, and the other. He's embracing the 80s and whatnot. So it's a tongue-in-cheek scene. I could have probably went without it, if I'm being honest. But how did you guys interpret this fun moment with Steve and Diana?
No, because here's the thing. I'm not talking about like, it's self-indulgent. It's just fun to watch Chris Pine try on funny outfits. Like there was a point where I was watching the film for the first time when it got right to this part where we're in the middle, and there's a lot of like extended scenes of Steve and Diana just kind of hanging out, or that's the it kind of feels like very like we're leisuring together, it's very Jenna Marbles, like I'm in my leisure suit. But the thing is that once it was all said and done, and I was like, oh no, see, all of that was necessary because the whole point is that he is here to teach her that she needs to appreciate the little things around her in life and just appreciate that she's still here and she needs to actually embrace life. And he is the one to show her how to do that because she now gets to see the world through new eyes, his eyes, because he's so in awe of everything. And of course, her as somebody that's just lived through it organically, she's not like like we can get on a subway and just go somewhere, or like we went to the moon. Like whereas him, that's like, oh my God, we went to the moon. Like,
but this guy was like flying planes. Like for her in the first one, I was like, okay, it's like she was almost like an alien, like coming to Earth and seeing like, okay, that's a vehicle, that's a car, like. They're shooting arrows, and then they're like, "Oh, do you guys have guns?" They're like, "What's a gun?" Like, so it's like it's already been done in Wonder Woman Part 1, but better because it's like you're an alien coming to Earth essentially. This dude, like I said, like if you're flying airplanes, like the fucking escalator is not gonna blow your mind. Like if I got fast forwarded 70 years in the future, it'd probably be some cool shit, but I'd be like, okay, the iPhone 50, what I can teleport now? Okay, got it. Like it's just like they use the trick that they did in the first one. But it's like, I think the first one was better. That's my opinion.
This bit right here, he improvised this. The breakdancing where he's like, whoa. He improvised that. I love him.
So good.
My comedy king, Chris Pine.
No, I was going to say, I think they both serve different purposes. I think the kind of what we were just talking about with him about how his view of the world is so pure. And he's sort of just taking everything in for the first time. It sort of like reminds Diana to just appreciate like what we have and like the incredible things that humanity has accomplished and everything. And so like I think what's great about his character is that like he is the only one who's like taking the world at face value, whereas like everyone else is like so far into greed and excess. I mean, like everything that the 80s was about, that they take like these marvels of the time like for granted. And so like for him to show Diana that again, I think is crucial to her character arc. And then also for him, because it's like he gets to see what the future kind of looks like one last time, and he just is so grateful and appreciative of it. I mean, he's really the one who teaches everyone the lesson, because it's like he teaches Diana the lesson, and then Diana is the one who kind of like spreads the gospel. So it's like it's really I love that so much.
Kaleena, what's your thoughts on the Chris Pine, kind of the fish out of water, similar beats to the first one? What were kind of your thoughts on me and Mr. Steve enjoying the day with Diana?
I mean, I think the fact that my first text to Griffin out of the movie was the trying on clothes scene is now my favorite scene of all time of any movie ever. Sets up the conversation pretty well. I love the sequence. I think it's cute. I think it's romantic. I agree that it really gives Chris the opportunity to kind of show off his comedy chops, which he's really fucking funny, and he always has been. And people, even though he is my second favorite Chris, I think people have frequently underestimated his acting abilities, and any actor will tell you that comedic acting is way harder than dramatic acting because timing is critical. So I think it's really fun. It also really kind of reminds me of Big in a way, just kind of like that. Like, it just has that innocence to it. And like in the trailer, I fucking hated the like, that's a trash can. Like it seems so fucking stupid. But then in the context of the movie, it's cute and it's funny, and he's not as stupid as that moment made him seem in the trailer. I love the escalator scene. I love that he like grabs her hand and he twirls, and I fucking love it.
I don't think he gets enough credit for the comedy in Star Trek. So to your point, he is very funny.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is the one thing that people don't talk about enough. Is
no one talks about Star Trek. I don't know why.
No, well, those movies are so underrated just in general. But like he is like I mean, say what you will about Shatner, but like he is the best Captain Kirk, and like those movies really showcase his range and like his leading man abilities and charisma and charm, and like especially his comedic chops. He is so funny in those movies.
Yeah, especially just just talking to Spock back and forth. It's like it's just gold. Every scene is gold.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm excited to see what he does with what is it, Dungeons and Dragons, and see how that film turns out with him as a leading man in that. But
my favorite moment from the first Wonder Woman movie is when she is trying on clothes and she comes out in that outfit with the glasses, and it's so quiet. Him up, he just goes, and it's like a sound that we're all making, but it is brilliant.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Miss it because it's so quiet. Love it.
Great actor.
Literally, when I met Chris Pine at the Wonder Woman signing before the first film came out, I told him, I was like, "Hi, I'm so excited to meet you. 12-year-old me would be dying right now." And he stopped signing posters and he put his marker down and he put his hand out to shake my hand. And he was
awesome.
like, "I hope however old you are is excited to meet me. Come on now." And I died. I died right there. You're talking to my ghost.
That's awesome. That is awesome. He seems like a really awesome guy, and it's good to hear that he is not just a facade on screen, that he's actually a good person off screen. So yeah.
He is the only Hollywood Chris that I haven't met, and I was supposed to have met him in 2015 at the Hell or High Water premiere at the Alamo Draft House in Austin. And I had my ticket, and it was like I bought my ticket, and then it was announced that he was coming, so it was like, holy shit, I'm in an elite club. I'm like,
oh, see this right here? It's the first time that she's losing her strength. Sorry, just wanted to point that out, and we can carry on with whatever anyone else wants to say.
Long story short, my ex-boyfriend, this is one of the many reasons I broke up with him, was like, no, I want to go take this job in Louisiana, and I need you to drive me there because my car is a piece of shit. So he made me sell my ticket to Chris Pine, drive me, which ironically was an 80s movie set. And so I got all done up in this 80s shit. They ended up never calling us to set. And then I had my pie stolen from me by comedian Mike Epps. He straight up walked up to my table and was like, "You're good," and took my fucking pie. So I got my pie and phone. And it was a very bad day.
That's the real reason of why you hate the 80s.
There you go.
I didn't do much. Good. You're gonna set off that guy in the comments. Be careful.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that guy's gonna come for you. I'm sorry.
So now we're getting the kind of the origins of sorts, so kind of learning more about the stone. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Me personally, I would have loved to have gotten from the first Wonder Woman when Hippolyta was telling Diana about the gods being dead, and we kind of get that really cool visual scene of the gods and Ares taking them out. I would have loved like a nice little, I don't want to say history lesson, but I would have loved to have seen kind of the origins in that same type of vein and style of the god of lies and mischief coming up into the film. But how did you guys feel about the kind of the understanding and explaining the Dreamstone, starting with Chris?
Yeah, I think 1,000% I agree with you. The background is what I was looking for. I do love that double polo. That was very 80s, but for some reason people are still doing it. And if you go to the right city. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I'll keep it short. That's how I felt about it. I was still good with the movie until this point. I'm still good. What
about you, Kaleena, in regards to the Dreamstone and the origins of the Dreamstone? Was there enough explanation and enough meat on the bone for you for that MacGuffin?
I just don't care enough. I don't think I need to know that much. Like again, show don't tell is the number one rule in filmmaking. Like, is it really gonna make me like or understand the movie better if I have all this exposition about the stone? No, I get how it works. I get how it's being used, and whatever the consequences are gonna be about to be shown.
And I guess you can go down a rabbit hole too of like explaining everything. It's like, to your point, if you start explaining this, then you have to explain, even the Chris Pine thing and the body thing. So it's like, it's like a slippery slope, I would say.
Right. What about you, Griffin?
I'm fine with what they did with it. I don't think they did a whole, flashback or whatever. Like it's not the point of the film. I think, all we need to understand, and she sort of says it, is that like the gods gave them many gifts and this is just one of them. And so there's like obviously more of a personal connection to Diana and her culture. So.
For sure. Jenevia, what about you? I know, again, going back to your love of Zack Snyder, we probably would have got a little flashback with Zack Snyder there, right?
No, but he's been dropping hints since the beginning. Like, literally, when we first meet Diana Prince in the DCEU, she's at Lex Luthor's gala, and Lex Luthor, he's so annoying. He gets on stage and he's making a speech, and it's like, stop talking, we don't like you. But then he, like, mentions Zeus, and you cut to her, and she's kind of like, because that's her daddy. That's her daddy. And she's like, ew, not having it. They've been dropping hints like from the get. We saw Ares in the last Wonder Woman. We get another mention here, and we're gonna see more God content in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So like it's here, it's been here, it's going to continue to be here, and I'm interested to see, like, you know, how we're gonna get into more of that scale of character and story. Especially, I really want to know what they're going to do with Black Adam. We don't need to go on a big tangent about that because it's not super relevant right now, but like just in a general open-ended sense, like I'm intrigued.
I don't know what's going on with Ava DuVernay's New Gods, but that's definitely something I want to explore more in the DCEU. Is because I mean, Hippolyta said that all the gods are dead, which I hope that isn't the case, but we'll see what the future holds for the DC. But we are now approaching a very pivotal moment for the lore of Wonder Woman and the Invisible Jet, which I did not expect to see that in the film at all. So,
did you guys see when Graham Norton got in trouble on Twitter because he
I saw that he mentioned the Invisible Jet.
It's gonna be in the film, and then he snapped back and he was like, "Just so we're clear, the Invisible Jet has been part of the canon for decades now." And I was like, "I mean, I get what you're saying, Graham, but also like you did spoil it for the film."
Dropped the ball on that one, but no, it's really cool to see because I was always wondering how they were going to implement that into one of the films, and I thought that the explaining of Diana having these powers from her dad and making things go invisible was again, you don't want to explain too much of it, but I thought it was a nice little nod to the lore of Wonder Woman as we see Steve Trevor now get into a plane for the first time in forever is a nice moment for the character there.
Yeah, because he's flown before, but he's never flown something this high tech. That's why he was surprised when he said in Maxwell Lord's office, he was like, "You have a plane that can take you straight to Egypt in one shot," and that blew his mind because that was not in the capabilities of the planes that he used to fly back in decades and decades ago.
Can we also pre-acknowledge that "well shit, Diana" is probably the best delivered line of all time?
So fucking good. I laughed so hard at that. It was like, "well shit, Diana."
Do you guys think that was improv? I can't imagine that's a scripted line.
I feel like that was just totally Pine throwing something out there. It feels like something he would do. Yeah.
It's the use of Diana. Like, if he just said, "well shit," I don't think it would be as funny, but it's him like commanding, like, "well shit, Diana."
I know, it's like the
right to the danger zone.
The feuding couple. It's so cute.
So here it is. He's making the powers. I wonder, is that something we're going to explore in I don't know, future Wonder Woman IP?
Well, we don't know when they're going to do Wonder Woman 3, like what time period, because I think we have to see what plays out with Zack Snyder's Justice League as far as how far that takes. Well, let me not get in. There's too much to talk about if I bring that up, but being that Patty's also got her other projects that she's been working on and will continue to, finish. So I think it'll be a couple years, but I mean, that's fine. Like, to me, it's like, listen, as long as she's going to do it, I don't need you to do it right now. I hate when films get rushed just because it always makes the quality significantly lower. I'm looking at you, Fantastic Four #2. So I don't want that. Like, she can do it whenever she wants to do it and whenever she has time to do it. And, I just want her to have the creative freedom to pick a time period. I kind of want her to go back to Themyscira, but I kind of don't.
Same.
I don't know. Like, I just want Asteria to join her in one of the fights.
I'm right there with you, Jenevia. I would love more, and I think the word is that we're supposed to get a Themyscira TV series or a movie.
Amazon,
I don't know if that's in the same conversation as the Trench movie with Aquaman, but hopefully we get more Themyscira because I love being on that island and learning more about the island. But this is a beautiful moment here, ladies and gentlemen. We're seeing, not only is Chris Pine having a great moment and Steve Trevor in the plane, but this is a big moment for her and for later on in the film with the taking flight. So this is a big moment for the characters here.
Did anyone else
I love this
would have been a little bit more emotion in this scene. Like I really was craving like an "I love you" or "I really
moment.
missed you" or something. Like I wanted something kind of cheesy, and I didn't get it. And I feel like the scene is lacking for it.
Well, that's going
I
back
don't
to
know.
what I
It's
had
still-
said
it's still
before
got
about
me.
how I thought the first time that I was watching it, I was like, I just feel like we're getting so much of them just kind of hanging out. But once the film was finished, and I was like, oh, that's why you were doing all that, because she needs to like take the time to really, you know, rediscover the world. And also somebody, I forget who, I feel really bad that I'm not giving credit, but somebody was tweeting about this, not this film specifically, but just in a general sense. They were kind of making fun of the fact that people get too demanding about films, where they were basically speaking sarcastically. They were like, oh, I get very angry when people just present things that allow characters to just exist and experience emotions instead of only giving me stuff that furthers the plot. And I was like, I mean, yeah, you're totally right in roasting that mentality, because it's like we get so locked into this idea of 2-hour stories, and then like we don't give characters the room to just like breathe. And also we force people to extend things to be 2 hours. Just let it be whatever length it wants to be. I don't care. I just want it to be authentic to your artistry and storytelling. So I'm fine with it. Like, I just think it's a really silly thing to nitpick. Of all the things I could nitpick, like my one nitpick is that first scene at the mall. So like, I'm not going to nitpick anything else.
Oh, for sure. And I guess this kind of, I haven't been keeping tally of the screen time right now, but I guess just a quick question started with Chris. Barbara, Maxwell Lord, you know, we're obviously spending time with Steve and Diana. Their chemistry is off the charts, but do we miss the stories of our quote unquote villains? Is it something that we wish were a little bit more injected in this moment in the film, or are we okay with the chemistry that we're getting with these two, spending some time together, starting with Chris?
Yeah, I think when it's a Wonder Woman movie, people just want to see Wonder Woman the most. So, and the movie's so long that we're going to get to everyone. Yeah. And I think later, we get the, more of the, the Kristen Wiig scenes, especially with the, when she finally defends herself against that creep. So, I was cool with it. I think, just from the overall world, people just wanted more just overall Wonder Woman action. Right. Going into the first one, there were so many of those like training montages and all that kind of stuff that I guess some people were missing. So, Patty took made a decision. She took it in this direction and she stuck with it. So
he gave her the words of wisdom so she can learn how to fly in that scene. As soon as I heard them, I was like, she's going to fly and she's going to use those words. It's the same thing. Literally. Okay. I said this in my spoiler review, but I'll say it again because you guys don't know who I am. And so you have not seen my review. I'm not offended. I'm just stating the facts. So like, it's literally that Keanu thing where he went viral because he was on Stephen Colbert and they said, what happens when we die, Keanu Reeves? And he said, the ones that we love us will miss us. And it's literally that idea of like, we carry the ones that have left us. We carry them with us. So they're never really gone. And that's literally like, we know at this point, because of the first film, we know that her aunt is dead. She died in the first film. So that advice you're getting from her, that she is like the message of this film, of like, real heroes don't lie or something, or like you can't be a hero based on lies or something. I forget the exact wording of it. And then like Steve is the one who teaches her how to fly, and like she flies after he like goes away again.
Yeah.
Here's your scene, Jenevia.
Oh, kick him again. Literally, I had a watch party for this film, and one of my viewers was like, the first time I watched this scene, that was what I said, was kick him again.
Hey, stick it to him, man. This guy's a creep.
I also want to go back like 2 minutes. Did anyone else wish when she was at the computer, like looking at everything I really wanted one of those like Scorsese moments where like the newspaper slides across the screen and we go like up and down with anyone else or just
a little bit of cool stylistic take on that moment. But yeah.
Score! Oh my god. These little stings of Cheetah's theme song. Oh.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, we're seeing the human nature, the loving nature of Barbara go away, and she's getting more animalistic side of her, if you want to say the more aggressive side. But this guy deserves every hit, every pick. Yeah.
I'm sorry, he deserved that.
Also, I want to point. No, he definitely does. Also, I want to point out something here. I think it's interesting that people complain about this scene in saying that the film depicts it as being negative and like kind of paints her as being a villain, when I don't think that's the case at all. because obviously she goes on to continue helping Diana until she learns that the mission is going to directly affect her and all of the things that she wants. So it's like the movie is not saying like, you know, oh my God, look at her, look what she's doing. No, it's not saying that at all. It's like saying she's finally like letting the
No, I was gonna say I haven't heard that complaint, because like it's one thing if she beat up, you know, the black guy that was like her friend. Yeah, so it's like that's a weird argument.
For sure.
Yeah, no, it's I've seen so many just strange arguments about this film.
The internet.
This is why I mute most pages on Twitter, and I just don't follow anyone anymore, because I'm like, you might seem like a nice person, like I'll talk to you on Twitter, but like I just don't want more stuff on my feed. I just want to follow like capybara accounts and like that's it. But like no, because the thing is that what the film is showing is that people don't just like become villains. There's a gradual progression and escalation of like, once you've committed violence against another person, even if they probably definitely deserved it, but it's just this kind of thing of like, well, I can do a little more. I can do, you know, I can be a bit more violent, or maybe, you know, it doesn't bother me. And it's about building that over the course of, you know, because at first it's getting revenge on your would have been rapist. And then it's like, oh, well, these Secret Service guys, but she's like throwing them around, like ragdolling them all over the place. And then it just keeps going and going. And it's like, when does it stop? And that's the whole point. Yeah. So.
Question for you, Jenevia. You mentioned a couple minutes ago about Black Adam. Is there any connective tissues here with his family dynasty that might tie into any Black Adam strings, or is that something that's?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, because like, I mean, the thing with Black Adam is that they took it off the release date schedule. So that's like how far delayed it's getting, because everything was getting, that's the whole see, this is why people need to not complain about WB releasing their films and just being like, listen, we're just going to release them, because when stuff keeps getting pushed back, then Black Adam lost its release date. And the problem with that is that then it's like, you can't, I don't know what they're doing as far as if they've developed, if they've picked like, and definitely locked in their story. They've been casting people, but you know, you like when you lose your release date, you're also losing your production date. So it's like, we don't know when they're going to actually get around to making that. But I mean, listen, he's a genius when it comes to marketing, and his I think she's technically his manager, his ex-wife, Danny. Yeah, she's a genius as well. So like, he's been very like, he literally was saying like, I want to fight Henry Cavill's Superman. I want to fight the League. He's like putting it out there, so then people can't like take it away from him. So you know, I don't think this is. I think this exists in the story just because Patty wants the impact. She wants to show that like these, you know, these short-sighted like actions and people are just doing things, and it's causing damage across the entire world. That it's not just, oh, well, these are American characters. The action is in America, and like that's the only people that are involved, which I like, because it's a continuation of in Man of Steel, when General Zod, he hijacks the entire world's like broadcasting system, and it's broadcasting his message in a bunch of different languages. So I like that it's really showing just like the global involvement of the stakes of the story. So and it makes sense because it's the 80s and it's the Cold War. Hello, everyone's fighting, everyone's like finger on the red button about to like launch stuff that they shouldn't have made in the first place. But I'm not going to go on that tangent.
No, it's a great call. It's a great call. I love the global, like you said, the global stakes in this film is definitely highlighted. I love that Patty was able to kind of take it to other realms and kind of go beyond the state lines.
Yeah, because superhero films don't always do that, or they go somewhere else and they just make a mess and then they leave it there.
Yeah.
Which shows the lack of empathy for places outside of the U.S. But that's another tangent I should not get into.
No worries.
The Avengers are like, at me, bro.
So just another little friendly check-in with everyone in the chat. Again, for everyone tuning in, we really appreciate you guys tuning in to the live stream of Wonder Woman. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to like, share this video, and all these wonderful people on the panel, make sure you show them some support by checking out their channels, their Twitters, all that fun stuff. So we are at the hour and 21 minute mark, and we are approaching our, I guess, our second quote unquote action set piece, which I actually really enjoy this action scene. I know Griffin, being a lover of Indiana Jones, probably got some good feels with this moment here. So starting with, Griffin, man, what's your thoughts on this action piece? Minus I don't know how you feel about I don't know how you guys, again, nitpicking the criticism of slow motion and Wonder Woman running down the highway. Just kind of your thoughts.
I don't even care. It's just it works for her, It's like Patty has a certain way that she likes to frame her like jumping into action, and it works.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we should be glad that the film turned out as good as it did, because there was like a lot of drama that I don't want to air out like on the stream because it'll just take too long. But like, there were certain people involved that wanted the film to go a certain way, and it wasn't what Patty wanted. But those people, there was an investigation, and certain people got booted off. And then now, when the film opens, you see Stone Quarry, that's Zack Snyder's production company, and you see produced by Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder, and they are cool with Patty. So they're like, Patty, what do you want to do? Okay, do that. And so, the fact that it was able to actually be cohesive, despite the fact that people are wanting to pull it in this or that direction, like I'm grateful. Like, I'm not being condescending or patronizing when I say that. Like, I'm glad that it didn't get so far mangled because of the tug of war of behind the scenes stuff, that it still works as a film for me. Like, listen, if you want to nitpick something, we all review stuff, right? If you want to nitpick something, you can find something to nitpick. But like, I have my one gripe with the opening scene. I don't think it's needed. It's not my thing. And that's it. So like, that'll be my recurring mantra for the rest of the film. When it's like, oh, do you think that it's right that this is, this has been criticized? Like, do you agree? No, I don't agree. Because we're past the beginning. Like,
for sure.
It could have been better, but like, who cares? I'm still emotionally invested.
Yeah.
This moment stresses me out so much with her hair like flapping on the road. I'm like, her scalp is gonna get fucking torn off, and I have not seen any comments about it. And I was literally nervous watching it.
Yeah.
Right. Bloodshed from her scalp.
For sure. But go Griffin, as you were saying, just going back to this action set piece, man, just your love for the scene.
It's great. It's a lot of fun. I mean, Hans Zimmer totally does a great job of, taking the theme that he established for her in BVS and then sort of like embellishing on it, making it a little more, playing into the emotions a little bit more, extending it and such.
Yeah.
It's just a really, really fun sequence. And I like the fact that she's vulnerable in this sequence. And like when she gets shot in the shoulder, she's like, okay, I got to, go and take new maneuvers. I got to be more careful. And so like, I don't know. It's all really, really fun.
And Kaleena, I would love to know, I know you saw this in the theaters. Again, Hans Zimmer's score, this moment. Can you describe the moment seeing this in theaters, this scene here?
Yeah, this was a specific moment that I texted Griffin about too, because I'm continually amazed by really any artist's ability to like rework an already existing theme. But what Hans does in this scene is I do not have a musically inclined brain as badly as I wish that I did. And so this is truly artistry to me. It just opens and blows my mind in ways that I could hardly even articulate. And just in big, heavy action scene. I went to one of those like AMC fake ass IMAX theaters, so shit wasn't right to begin with.
Yeah,
those are the worst.
And so it was
right. The fake IMAX is so annoying, man.
Yeah. So this is really cool scene to see in theaters for sure.
I love that moment of Steve coming in clutch. He has no physical capabilities anywhere near the level of Diana, even though she is like losing her strength right now. So it's like, he's like, well, I can help a little bit, but it's like, but that's sometimes that's all you need. You just need that little bit of help, and then she's got it.
Yeah, I love this little slingshot of the rocket.
Yeah, I was about to say that's awesome, and then also I love Diana's little Spider-Man moment where she like kind of swoops in. It's like, it's great. I loved how much they used the lasso this time around.
Lasso was in work.
That was one of the things. A lot of people were like, "Oh man, yeah." Like for the first one, people were like, "Oh, I want to get more of the lasso. I want more of that."
Gosh, I'm pretty sure one of those kids got a concussion.
This film, they were.
That's a fact.
I also want to know why.
But I was gonna say, like, in this film, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna put the lasso to good use."
What were you saying, Kaleena? We missed that.
I'm really disappointed that she rides the lightning in the train. And I don't know if any of y'all have insight as to why that.
Wait, she rides lightning in the film.
Does she?
Yeah, when she's on her way to go confront Maxwell and Cheetah.
Okay, then I must have just missed it then. I remember feeling like really disappointed because that was something I was excited for, and I didn't remember seeing this.
No,
is there someone?
Like,
is there some? Do you guys get? Are you guys hearing feedback of someone's audio on or something like that?
Yeah.
It sounds good for me on my end. I hear you guys clear.
Okay, stop. I think we're good.
Okay.
Cool. Did you guys, again, going back to Griff, I know you brought up the lasso, which was definitely in full effect in this film. Did you guys, Jenevia, Chris, did you guys have any issues with, or did you miss the sword in the shield? Or are you guys cool with the lasso being most of her, kind of her resources that she used in her disposal?
Well, she straight up tells Steve later on, you can't use that when he tries to get like these old-fashioned weapons because people have guns because it's in America. Too many guns. But I was just going to say like a point that has nothing to do with what you asked, sorry, is that some people have been criticizing some of the wishes that get made because they're interpreting it as like, oh, the film is demonizing these people for making these wishes. The wishes, depending on which wish it is, not all of the wishes that are made are morally bad. Like it's not that the wishes are bad, it's that this dreamstone is going to like twist your wish into something like, and there's going to be like an unforeseen consequence. So like, I just want to point that out because some people were being like, oh, see, the film is saying that person's wrong because they wished for such and such. And I'm like, that's not what it's not what it said, but okay. Like you clearly want to be mad about something. So if that's what you're picking, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's so exhausting to keep up with a complaint like that. It's just nonsense. Like it muddies actual, like dialogue about the film like people have issues with, and it's just like you got to like weed through all that like that kind of nonsense like about making wishes. Like people would really make these type of wishes in real life. Like it's not nothing is far-fetched about this.
Yeah, I mean, even Diana wishing for Steve to come back, she didn't make that wish knowing it would come true. She was not expecting him to show up. That's why she's like,
very true. That's a good point. Yeah.
So, if that's the specific wish that people are having an issue with, it's like, no, she's just in her feelings of like, oh, I lost someone that I loved and, I wish they were here. Doesn't everybody feel like that when they lose someone?
Yeah. No.
They just don't happen to be holding a magical wish stone that can like make that happen.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Bringing up, Diana, she didn't know that this was going to come true. So now this is, I guess, what we can call this Barbara 3.0. This is now she's kind of more embracing the style. And again, I don't know if this was something conscious too by Patty Jenkins, but I don't know if it was conscious or not, but how Diana's wardrobe was a little bit different. Her style was a little bit lacking, but we see Barbara kind of embracing more of the style and kind of being a little bit more, stylish per se. Was that a conscious effort you think by Patty, or just something that was kind of went under the radar?
She literally said on Twitter that a ton of consideration was put into Diana's clothes and the clothes in general. So I mean, there's a very clear. I mean, this is a moment where Diana is not dressing to be fashionable. She was in a whole situation and she probably just grabbed whatever was there. Barbara is now like putting more effort into her appearance, which by the way, like that element of her transformation is like she could have got any of those clothes before she made the wish. So I just think that's an interesting thing that people don't necessarily think about of like, if you want to give yourself a glow up, I mean, you can just give yourself a glow up. You don't have to like.
I guess the point is that she didn't feel like she could even pull it off. So it's like she didn't have the confidence to think, oh, I can't wear something like that. I thought that's what they were trying to get at.
For sure.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, her whole arc is about, what was the thing that she was missing? She wanted confidence.
It was an internal issue the entire time because Patty said that on Twitter when somebody asked her about like something to do with Barbara, and she's like, "Oh yeah, see that's the thing is like Barbara's always been great, but she just doesn't know that."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what's really sad. Exactly. Oh God, this part drives me crazy. Where it's like it's all over Barbara's face. I'm like, Diana, please look up. She's literally giving away that like she does not want to like stop the wishes at all. but she's so focused on what's in front of her. I'm like, oh my God, Diana. It's a very like yell at the screen moment where you as the audience can see everything and the characters can't.
Well, the scene is frustrating because I think this is an obvious turning point for Barbara because she's being ignored as if she's like a child trying to get her parents' attention.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, I understand it's done that way. But for me, there's not a good enough reason for Diana and Steve to be ignoring her. And so it makes me not only obviously very sympathetic to Barbara, but from like a filmmaking standpoint, it irritates me a little bit because it seems like it could have been a more obvious moment for like what was maybe the final straw for Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
But instead it was just done like, okay, she's just going to be ignored by her friends. And I felt like there was an opportunity for more substance there.
Yeah, that's fair, especially considering the fact that they've asked her to do like so much throughout the course of the movie, and it's like she's like finally like helped them figure out what's going on.
Steve doesn't know her, sort of, so
ignore her.
Steve's not gonna like, and also Barbara wasn't with them when they just went on this entire like fly to the other side of the world, get into a huge fight, and then like come all the way back. You know what? Now that I think about it, this is why sometimes it's good for me to talk it out and then I figure it out myself. They're jet lagged right now. I don't know if any of you have like gone on a long trip, but they're totally jet lagged right now. I'm amazed that they're still standing and like trying to get this quest.
Gotta figure it out. Yeah. Make some heroes, right? They don't sleep. They don't eat.
Listen, Wonder Woman doesn't get jet lagged. It just doesn't happen. She's
losing her strength. Oh no, this is the part where he's gonna hurt his son's feelings. Oh my God, I'm not ready to watch this again. Like, he's sitting right there. How do you not? Oh my God, you can see the back of his head.
Yeah.
I'm upset already.
Yeah.
This is so late, but it's something I think about at every watch. The moment when Max makes his wish and he has the like guy turning into a villain moment, like the Thanos moment, his face acting and the way he rolls his fucking eyes back is so like chef's kiss, and that kind of detail is so consistent throughout his performance. I don't think anyone's not talking about Pedro. Really was exceptionally good in this role, and I'm disappointed that fleshed out more.
I don't know if this is something you guys would be. I mean, I don't know if anyone would not want to see more Pedro, but someone had mentioned something about a solo Pedro film, a Maxwell Lord, because we know, not to fast forward all the way to the end, but he's not arrested. I don't know if there's any consequences for his actions, but is that something you guys would ever be interested in? A Maxwell Lord spinoff show, movie? Is that something in the realm of possibility, Kaleena?
I would for sure, because that's one of my gripes with the movie is I feel like both Barbara and Maxwell are such interesting and complex villains, and I don't know if the problem was that we had both of them in the movie, and so there just wasn't enough time to really like give them the kind of like full-rounded character arc that they deserved, or if the movie just didn't focus on their stories enough. But I would absolutely be interested, honestly, for either of them, for Barbara or Maxwell, because I love, there's a time and a place for bad people who are just bad for the sake of being bad, but I think it's meaningful, and especially in Maxwell's case where it's connected to like his son and just wanting to be proud of the man he is and kind of like building his own empire. I think that would be really, really interesting to see that either of those characters given a proper backstory.
This is a really important moment ideologically of what the film is communicating, because literally when his son tries to wish like, I just want to be with you, daddy, and he tells his son like, no, you don't wish for something that you already have.
Yeah.
What? Like, that's the whole problem of the film, is like everybody always wants more. And like, listen, I'm not talking about like you live in a bad like a bad living situation and you want something better. We're talking about like wanting more to the point of just being excessive to the point that it harms other people. And that's like what the film is condemning. And the fact that he's like teaching his son the wrong thing and then he figures out later, like, no, that's not right. I'm sorry. Like, also, I think people are underestimating how cathartic it is to watch a parent apologize to their child for doing the wrong thing, because our parents are not apologizing to us for the trauma they inflicted on us. Like, we don't need to go on that tangent, but they're just not. So
yeah,
Patty's out here giving us free therapy. So
definitely. As we see his health is continuing to decline, and his wish of greatness is starting to take place, with this meeting coming up here with the president, which is, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest kind of, again, I don't want to stress the negatives, but I wasn't the biggest fan of kind of that kind of idea of getting a portal or a signal that can touch everyone in the world. But, got to figure something out to get to the villain's end game.
They have to escalate it,
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, based on what is around in the 80s, what can we use to escalate?
Yeah.
For that one final push before good defeats evil, if you want to be simplistic about it. But there he goes again.
For like 2 seconds, when I saw this in theaters, I thought the driver was Nathan Lane, and I got
oh my gosh,
this movie.
That would have been a fun cameo, though.
It would have been amazing just to randomly have Nathan Lane as like the driver of the getaway car.
The world needs more cameos, that's for sure.
Have any of you seen Mirror Mirror? Because Nathan Lane is in that, and he's just like a side character, but it's like every time he's there, he steals the scene.
Nice. So now the world, everyone's making their wish, and we are getting the golden armor. I guess to me, I would love to know, Griffin, starting with you, man. Was the golden armor something you were excited for? Is it just to sell toys? Did you want a little bit more from the golden armor? How did you take this introduction to the golden armor here?
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was cool, and it was a nice little. I liked the way that they sort of tied it to the post-credits scene, obviously, that we get a little bit later on. Really, really nice little. Like, it was well done fan service as opposed to not well done fan service. But no, I did. I mean, I didn't going in. I wasn't really. I was like, okay, cool. She's got gold armor and the wings and cool, like whatever. But in the context of the movie, I think it's great, and it's just, again, it ties into Diana's arc. Is very symbolic in that sense, because she has to become the. I'm blanking on Linda Carter's character's name. She basically has to, do the same. Yeah, Etheria. Yeah, she basically has to do the same thing, and so I like the fact that she does don the armor for that particular confrontation, and there's sort of her explaining to Steve what it is. Obviously, it's like, okay, when the lasso sort of reveals to him that that story and everything, it becomes clear to him that, okay, this is what she needs to do, and all that stuff. So it was good.
I like this little comment here from Robert. You should just use the pager, right? I mean, where's the pagers in the 80s? We don't have anyone using a pager back then. But Kaleena, did you have any? What's your kind of thoughts on number one? Again, we talked about the lasso being really heavily influenced in this film, but we get the moment of truth. He could see the past. Did you enjoy the kind of the explanation of the golden armor being used in the story?
Before we get to that, I feel like we need to address how important this scene is. First of all, breaks my heart that we do not see him seeing that picture of Charlie. That was a moment I wanted so badly to exist.
To see that moment, that would have been pretty nice.
Also, just like the way he looks at Diana constantly, and the way he looks at her in the Trevor Ranch photo, and that is a great face acting moment from Chris, where he's looking at that photo, and that's kind of the moment where he's like, I have to convince her that I have to go, it's so vital. The golden armor is fine for me. It looked really pretty in the marketing, and it looked really pretty in the trailers, but emotionally, I don't think it really did much for me for the character. I think, obviously, agreeing with what Griffin said, it was a really fun way to tie in Linda, and I don't know if Patty has any plans to try to kind of integrate her in the future. So that could be a really fun way of doing it. I don't know. It just seemed like one of those things where like the audience is introduced to it, and maybe it was just me, but she's like flying into battle, and then the scene almost plays out like someone who is like on their way to work, and then they forget that they left their wallet at home. She's like flying, and she's like, "Oh, shit, I have that like really important suit. Let me just go grab it really quick." And then I also felt confused about how it's supposed to be indestructible, and then Cheetah's able to destroy it so quickly. I understand that's obviously supposed to show like what a great competitor she is against Diana. So I'm not literally confused about it.
Because in the flashback, she's fighting regular human men, and Cheetah wished to have this like the strength of Diana, not knowing that Diana is the daughter of Zeus.
Right, and so that's what I mean by like I'm not confused about why it's in there. It just kind of felt like a moment where it's like she has this huge cinematic moment where she comes out in the armor and she's like ready for this, fight of her life. And then it's just broken down so easily. I think I just wanted to see a bit more maybe back and forth in the fight between them.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, at least for me, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more Diana versus the actual Cheetah in the movie, with it being one of her greatest foes. But, again, we have future films potentially with maybe Cheetah coming back in the 3. But Chris, man, what's your thoughts on the golden armor? Did you like the use of it? Did you want to see more of it?
I do like the golden armor. I don't know if anyone has, I said this on Twitter, but I couldn't help but think that she looked like Goldar from Power Rangers. Was I the only one that thought that? I couldn't. Then when I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. So I was like,
I didn't see that one, but now that you bring it up, it is it's kind of I can see the similarity for sure.
I thought it was a cool backstory. I always like the historical parts of like this is why this is passed down. This is what we use this for. So I was cool with it. When we get to the actual scene, I think someone remembers this on YouTube too. It's like a very dark scene. So I don't know if it did the gold any justice, but we'll get there when we get there. But I was cool with it
for sure. And Jenevia, you're I know you were talking about
the guy that was hitting on her.
There he is, coming back full circle. Did you how did you kind of and like did you say you liked the scene with the golden armor and kind of Asteria kind of being introduced? And it seems like those were Spartans. I assume she was fighting off Spartans of the human man while the Amazonians were going into Themyscira.
Well, and it was fun because I didn't know that Linda Carter was going to be in it. I don't know if I had seen something hinting at, I don't really remember, but when I saw the scene and I only saw her eyes and eyebrows, I was like, that's Linda Carter.
Same, yeah.
Wait. And I thought that was just going to be it. Mm-hmm. And to me, that would have been enough. I was like, that's a really
but it can be better.
Easter egg. But then she comes back for the little scene at the end, and I went, oh, that's nice that they gave her an actual scene. Like, I mean, not that one wasn't important, but
yeah,
I love. Oh, this part is so important where he says, "What do you wish for?" and the president says, "More."
Yeah, more.
It's literally what he was just saying to his son. He's like, "You don't wish for something you already have."
For sure.
Oh my God, he's so good. I'm just thinking about the person whose job it was to just constantly spray Pedro to make him damp, like in the forehead and the hair, like throughout this entire chunk of the movie.
Yeah,
like just varying degrees of perspiration. I'm sorry, that's such a stupid thing to fixate on. But it's funny to me. Like anytime you see behind the scenes of stuff like this, like literally you can see Man of Steel stuff like behind the scenes. The part at the beginning with the oil rig, shirtless. There are these people that are just spraying Henry Cavill, and it's so funny. Sorry, what was your question? I'm sorry, I'm getting
No, you're good. No, you answered it. It was just pretty much the golden armor, just the the introduction of it and being implemented in the story, and things like that.
Yeah, I think she's coming back.
That would be nice. That would be really nice. I don't know if she would. If she would have, because
also I just want to comment. Yeah, I want to comment on the fact that it's like, do you guys like that's Pedro Pascal's sweat? He just physically made himself sweat that much. He just thought about it and he got really worked up, and then it just came out of him. True acting, right there.
There you go. True method acting. No, Linda Carter coming back would be really cool. I mean, we could talk about that at the end with the little post-credit scene, but yeah, my the golden arm, it would have been really cool for me just because I love Themyscira. I would have loved to, even though I know Diana's forbidden to go back to the island, I would have loved to have seen like a little moment where she goes to the island to get the armor, or someone makes a wish to bring Asteria back. I thought it would have been a little bit more interesting to kind of have a little bit more golden armor moment, especially with it being so pivotal in the, some of the comic book runs with Kingdom Come and everything like that.
This part where he's acting with his hands, which he's been doing for this entire film, by the way, but this part specifically where he's like, "Are you saying I can?" And he does this thing with his hands.
Yeah,
touch everyone. I'm like, okay, calm down, breathe, Maxwell. Oh, it's such a like little moment of the character, but I love it. Touches. Wait, with the hands. That right there.
This moment also cracks me up because even though I don't work in politics, I don't think in the Oval Office there's just charts of like all future plans of what you're going to be doing.
All laid out.
This feels like some minor setup of position here.
Like there might be another room that they can use.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who works in the White House who just brings in the pie chart?
Yeah. Like,
I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I'll take that guy
at the party that let them into the White House.
Yeah, you think like, Griffin, where the charts at? All right.
I finally have a nitpick to bring in. I finally have one. In the DC fandom premiere for this film, when they asked Chris and Pedro about doing their fight scene together, and they were being all cute and flirting with each other, and I loved it. And Pedro was like, "Didn't I bite you?"
Yeah.
And Chris was like, "Yeah. Where was the bite?
Exactly.
Don't get me emotionally invested in there being a bite and then not deliver it to me." There, I have a nitpick.
It's left on the cutting room floor, unfortunately.
Maybe, I was about to say maybe it was an unused take, or Patty was like, this doesn't. We can't do this.
I need it in the blooper reel for science.
In these COVID times, they're like, this is probably a better idea.
Yeah.
Or
biting of actors,
or they were referring to the rap party in which they just made the conscious decision to bite each other. So.
There you go.
I think them fighting each other on screen would have been like borderline pornographic, and they just couldn't.
I'm on AOP every day, so like I wouldn't have complained.
Yeah,
a little too sexy for family time.
Too much. What were you saying there, Chris?
No, I was gonna say this whole scene kind of gave me that that Nightcrawler X2 vibe.
Yeah, same here, man. Yeah.
I definitely got that.
Yeah.
And something too that also what I like about when
the Source thing happens.
A lot, just chef's kiss. I love, and I think Patty even brought this up, where she just seeing how Diana fights, where she's so like conscious of no one dies in this movie. I'm pretty sure there's no death for any character. How she's just so she's not Batman, she's not a villain who doesn't want the villains to die. But I just love the conscious effort of not, how Wonder Woman's making sure that everyone's okay. She knocks them out, but they're not going to die.
I love how it's like, she's badder now because she has more eyeliner on.
Yeah.
Like more eyeliner, more smudgy eyeliner. And that's how like, oh no, she's like a My Chemical Romance stan now. So she's like, she's getting into her rebellious stage, and now she's going to do what she wants to do. Oh, here we go.
Where's the bite? Where's the bite? That was the scene. They cut it right there.
Where's the bite? It's like,
here's something that I think should have been the case. I know a lot of fans, like true fans of the comics, probably wouldn't have liked this, but I think this should have been Cheetah's final form. I don't think that she should have made the
turn into that
transformation. I think you could have.
Yeah.
You could have still gotten the point across without like confusing a lot of people. Because thinking about it, just like if you are, and granted, I don't have issues with it, but it's like if you're just like a casual person and you're just like watching this and you've only seen the movies, when she transforms into like a cat lady, it's like, what?
I love Kristen,
like it is
actor in this,
and that's the point. That's kind of like Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. It's like it's like a play on it, like even Robin, like it's like a symbol, like she could have been a symbol of Cheetah.
Like that was the thing. Like she got the power. She's sort of in leopard print and everything. It's like boom, there you go. That works. She's Cheetah. And I'm sure like diehard fans would have been I'm sure they would have wanted to see her as the actual Cheetah, but I think it ultimately would have worked.
Oh, yeah. A little bite there. So is it again, I get you have Chris Pine to be in the role, but again, I guess because Diana's the only one that sees him as Steve Trevor. Wouldn't Pedro Pascal would have seen the guy in that moment? Like the formation, the actual form of that guy in that when they're seeing each other, with Diana not being on the screen right there?
Yeah, but we see him as Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like no one sees him as Steve is what I thought was the idea.
Yeah. That's what I'm just saying. I just thought that would have been like they would have had the actual actor fighting Pedro Pascal versus Steve Trevor because he doesn't see Steve Trevor. So
right, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, like the viewer, yeah. They probably didn't want to pay that guy.
Yeah, just a little 2 scenes. Get your days worth.
What they call him? They call him handsome guy on the credits.
Is that what I think they casted him because he looked like, I guess, a Steve Trevor in the Linda Carter Wonder Woman. He resembled the actor that played him. I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
That's what they said.
The entire time I was like, this is like a B level Christian Slater. Like, like he did.
Oh wow!
I was just like, wow, this is interesting.
Broken Arrow, Tristan Taylor coming in. Yeah,
right.
I might go C level, but yeah, you're onto something.
I also
like, wait, let me see.
Yeah.
Back to Griffin's point, in her like final form, it was just a little too close to Cats that I felt a slight PTSD.
It was exactly Cats.
The other version looked worse though, so again, we should do that.
For her.
For Cheetah, there was another version that I don't want to say his name, but a guy who was involved in the film that got kicked off because he sucks. He wanted it to look different, and they went yeet and they went to the other version. So the other version looked worse.
Yeah, I would be curious. Speaking of DVD release behind the scenes, like the different like draws and mock-ups of the Cheetah character, because ultimately, like Griffin, I'm right there with you. I could have went without the actual visual representation of her becoming a cheetah, if I'm being honest. But
I want to see Patty's original ending for Wonder Woman 2017.
Speaking again, Gal Gadot, incredible as Wonder Woman. I love this moment. Just again seeing her vulnerable stages and just the acting chops. I know some people still think that she's not a great actress, which I don't know. To each his own, but I think she's just so great in this moment as she's losing her powers. And
no, she's really good.
Yeah,
I mean it's subtle and it's understated, but like that's the character.
Yeah, I love this moment.
Yeah. I mean, also like going back to that scene with her alone at the dinner table, like she's a very awkward person, like outwardly, and so and like which makes sense given the world she's in, growing up with, you know, very very isolated and stuff like that. And I think that actually plays to Gal's strengths as an actress, and so I was really happy that they took the character in that direction. It was super effective. Going back to the Cheetah thing, I will say, I do think the way they decided to do her worked much better than Cats, because when you see the close-up of her face, it is like a nice blend of like practical and CG. And like just listening to Patty talk about how they wanted to do it different from Cats, I think it definitely shows on screen. So it works if, like, you know, knowing if you're someone who knows stuff about the character in the comics and everything, and you want to see that version come to life. I think and it's effective, and they were smart enough to shoot it in. But on the whole, again, going back to what we were saying, it was unnecessary.
Jay had a question in the chat. I don't know if I missed this. Did Steve use a wish right there? Is there something I missed? Did Steve make a wish? I didn't think so.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I do want to get people's takes on this, because I've gotten into a few debates on it with just some of my friends about it. What do you guys think of them? And we're going to get to it a little bit later here, but what do you think of them using the song from Sunshine in like the emotional sort of like climax of the film? Do you think it takes away from what's going on there, or do you think it sort of adds to what's going on?
I think it works fine. I don't think people borrow themes and pieces and samplings all the time. So I don't know why people got so up in arms about it. I think it's poignant.
I agree with you.
Really well. I don't think there's any problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was thinking too, because it's like, you know, going back to like Thor Ragnarok for instance, are we gonna, you know, call that film out on using Immigrant Song as their needle drop? It just it doesn't really matter. And I feel and weirdly enough, when I was watching this the first time, it didn't even register with me that it was a song from Sunshine, because
I literally don't even know what song you're talking about right now.
There's a score track that was used by I forget the composer's name. Yeah, what, by who?
No, I was gonna say it's for the scene that's happening right now, right?
It's literally when she starts running away and then she takes flight. It's
okay. I'll pay attention when it happens.
Yeah, let's give our attention to this scene, and honestly, just Chris in this scene. Her inconsistent
blue eyes become bluer.
Her inconsistency makeup in this scene makes me crazy, and I hate the way she delivers "I'll Never Love Again." It feels kind of like they should have used a different take. But he's so heartbreaking in this scene. It's sad. It's really sad.
It's really good.
My subtitles just say Wonder Woman is crying.
Yeah. Same here.
The way he grabs her hands with both hands, like, shoot me in the face.
His eyes are so blue.
They are extremely blue.
And how he goes back from like her eyes to her mouth, that's very intimate and cute.
Yeah.
And then, in my opinion, comes the worst throwaway line of all time. The last thing we hear from Trevor is an off-camera, "I'll always love you." That was definitely like an ADR session somewhere. She's definitely way too far away to have heard it, and then I love you. It's like, bro, he's no. That was
parallel to the first film when he says "I love you" to her, and then
no, I get it. I think there was just a better. I feel like we deserved a stronger moment with Steve.
Yeah.
And she renounced her wish. Her wounds are slowly going away.
Wait, so this music?
Yeah.
Wait, let me see. Let me turn this up.
No. So it's right when she starts to learn how to fly.
Okay, I'll wait and see if I can hear it. So what is it from?
It's from this movie called Sunshine by Danny Boyle.
Okay.
It's to their credit, it's seamlessly blended. Like, so like with that piano drop right there, like the key hit, that's when the other song starts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it works. I think
it works for me. Yeah.
Well, it's probably also harder for me to pick up on it because I've only got one ear. I'm like one ear for this chat, one ear for the movie.
Yeah.
I probably need to go back and listen to it later.
Just because it got a lot of criticism, how do we all feel about like the CGI and
I mean, to me, it hits home with the superhero moment, and Henry Cavill taking flight and Man of Steel. It didn't throw me out of the scene, but I mean, it's definitely not the cleanest CGI I've seen.
I kind of liked it that way though. Like it kind of made it feel like a callback to like the shows, and I kind of like it's a little bit blurry, kind of just dreamy. I think it would if it would have been really crisp. I don't think it would have been as emotional.
Yeah. Man, that last song just defines all logic. I can connect to clouds.
Yeah.
But it's fueled by the truth. So I mean,
playing.
You may wish to
If someone's movie's playing in the background. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's mine. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I wanted to scream at Barbara when she's making her wish and she says, "I want to be an apex predator." I'm like, what did you think was gonna happen?
I kept getting confused about certain timelines in the movie. So like in that last moment when she's flying and she puts her fist forward, obviously it's like a direct recreation of the last shot of the first Wonder Woman. And in my mind I was like, wait, but she was flying back then, and I had to briefly like reorganize the timeline, which moments the first movie takes place in which year.
Oh, here she goes.
There's one. No.
Kristen's really good in this role. On her.
It's like, girl, you played yourself.
Someone's audio played in the feedback again.
Why does Pedro look cuddly in this? You know, he's got a little bit of a teddy bear vibe going on, like a sick teddy bear.
That's just Pedro. Like he can't even help it.
And for those at home, just again, a little friendly reminder, we are approaching, 28 minutes left in the film where Maxwell Lord is now, his plan is coming to fruition, and Cheetah, we're going to get the, which I would have loved to have. I'm a big horror fan. I would have loved to see the transformation of Cheetah, but we unfortunately don't get that. But we'll be seeing Cheetah here in a little bit. So yeah, for all those that are watching it live or watching the replay, we are right at the 2-hour and 2-minute mark, where Maxwell's big plan of touching everyone in the world is coming to fruition.
Oh no, no one is looking after this child, and it breaks my heart every time.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's a particular reason, maybe just like taking time, that the mom isn't involved at all? Because I feel like that's an obvious question: is like, where's the mom throughout all of this?
Yeah, I know they said something about she had a boyfriend or something. I don't know if it kind of speaks to her being, I don't know, not there for her son, or kind of moving on and living life and not take care of the son. But yeah, I don't know if that is something that was maybe cut from the movie, the mom having some type of appearance.
Did you see the wind in the hair when that lady was being anti-Irish?
Mm-hmm. Is it? Are you guys getting feedback on your end? Is someone's TV playing or something like that?
My sounds good.
Yeah.
There you go. So just stop now.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
All right, there you go, Kaleena, when she's going to ride the lightning.
Right there.
Yep.
Ride the lightning.
Okay, yeah, that's totally on me. I was also low-key like still crying from having to deal with the screen leaving again, so I
missed on it. Oh, there you go, Kaleena. She forgot her wallet. She's got to go back and get that armor.
You know what I mean?
My wallet.
Why? She's like, wait.
God damn it. Yeah.
I don't even know how else you would have done it. Like, I don't know if there's even a different way to show her going to get the hammer. That's just how it plays.
Yeah.
I love how he looks all sickly, and they've made him pale, and they have these like black veins on the side of his forehead. And then once all of the wishes kick in, he's like restored.
Mm-hmm. Just getting this
details.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to miss his final speech, but like I've been holding it because I drank my caffeinated beverage. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna hide myself, or I'll mute it and I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, take time.
This poor kid.
Neglected. I guess just curious, do you guys have a personal preference, Kaleena, regarding third act finales of the first Wonder Woman versus this one? Even though I know you say you prefer the first one over this one, but did you have a preference of the third act?
I mean, unfortunately, a consistency is that the third act seems to lose a little bit of its camera in both films. And again, like, I feel bad criticizing something I don't have a solution that's better because it's being judgmental without problem solving. I don't know. I also don't like hate the third act in the first movie as much as everyone does. I think it was
I don't either.
A bit more campy at times than I think it needed to be. But I also think it's a really nice progression of Diana like coming to terms with her own strength and her own capabilities. And then, like I said, I would say, just to answer your question directly, the third act of this film is more problematic to me than the first. I think there's just a lot of little ribbons. And I don't know. I wanted this fight scene to be more exciting because I think the women have this all-out battle. I think deserved more thought than I feel like was put into it.
For sure. No, I definitely wanted more from this finale. And I think, like you mentioned, this is a kind of a little bit of a criticism from Patty as the third act, maybe not as strong as the first two acts. But yeah, I definitely, and you mentioned it earlier, Griffin, I just, the cheetah transformation, I'm not a big fan of, and I really wish we would have gotten more of them hand-to-hand combat. But, you know, Griff, just your thoughts, man, on this fight here in this third act. Just in general.
I don't mind this fight. I don't mind this fight. I think it's actually pretty good. But maybe like longer, making it a little longer would have been more fulfilling, just because you've been building up to it the whole movie. But I mean, again, this is a nitpick. I think this finale completely trumps the other one. I love this finale so much because it's showing the true power of a hero. Without fists, right? And here's the thing: you get the fists leading up to it. Like this is the action confrontation that people want when we get to that third act of a superhero film, and then you get the ideological, philosophical, really emotions heavy conclusion to the film, which to me, and especially when Beautiful Lie kicks in from BVS, I mean, it really works to me because it's a nice way to thematically tie in two different sort of ideology, or the same ideology carried across through both films musically. So like that to me, like I don't know, to me when that thing started happening, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. It's also just really bold to have a superhero film that doesn't end with a big action set piece, but more of just like a conversation. I think that's the true power in these heroes sometimes.
The power of words, man. Yeah, they don't always have to use your fist to get something accomplished. You can use words to get through to the world. But yeah, Chris, actually, before I go to Chris, don't want to quick shout out to Give Me Shelter for the super chat. Thank you so much for the support, man. So this was a good time to all my 80s babies. Peace and love. No, peace and love to you, and appreciate the super chat. But no, Chris, I was going to go to you, man. Just your thoughts on the third act and kind of fulfillment, lack of fulfillment, kind of left, how did you feel about the third act, man? This battle, and particularly with Cheetah and Diana.
Yeah, real quick. Double shout out to Give Me Shelter. I think she mentioned in the chat earlier that she refers to herself as she, her. So I'm going to make sure that we're good. Yeah, we don't want any beef. But but she's been showing love in the chat all night. So that's dope. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a fan of this, watching it the first time I watched it. Again, I think it's probably enhanced by a movie theater experience, similar to that opening act, those kind of things. But I like the first one better for the third act. I mentioned it earlier too. I thought it was very dark and is like a weird choice to make it like this. Yeah. But the cheetah, I think the cheetah, how she looks, will affect people in a way that they will just cancel it or like immediately. So it's like people won't be able to look past it, or will have a hard time looking past it. So it'll cloud some of the judgment there. But I just prefer the first one to this.
No, same. What about you, Jenevia, regarding just the third act, this fight in particular, Cheetah versus Wonder Woman? Were you satisfied with it, or would you want a little bit more from these two?
I mean, I think both of these showdowns with the villains in this film are much better than the third act of like if we're specifically talking about her versus the villain. Yeah. Like I like that there's parallels in the dream sequence where it's like Man of Steel when Zod is talking to Cal, and then General Zod. I feel like I can hear Feora yelling at me. But then, you know, like the actual confrontation, but that wasn't even Patty's, that wasn't how she wanted to do it.
Yeah,
like it would have been better if they just let her do what she wanted to do.
She wanted to be more intimate finale.
Yeah, and like more, you know, like getting into it with Ares. But
basically what you got in this film between her and Max.
Yeah.
So I mean, like when people criticize the first of all, her with the wet hair is like making me feel feelings. But when it's her versus Cheetah, like, listen, we now have several DCEU films, so like, is it going to be one of my top-rated action showdowns between the hero and the villain? No, but like, I don't hate it. Like, I think it's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it. And also, like, no disrespect to Barbara as a character, but like anything that they did with that fight was, for me personally, going to pale in comparison to this showdown, because the emotional payoff of what happens with Maxwell Lord, I just feel like completely outdoes anything that they could have done in a fight between those two characters. So, but that's just my preference. So
no, that's a great point. And Kaleena, I don't know if did I ask you about the finale? Were you okay, gotcha. Yeah, I definitely prefer this conclusion versus the Cheetah fight. This was more fulfilling for me.
He's restored. You see his face?
Yeah.
So what are our collective feelings on kind of, obviously there's like a physical element going on, but the way that Diana is kind of uncharacteristically overpowered, because in theory the idea is that since she renounced her wish, her power should be fully restored. Do we like the way this plays out?
But it's like the power of a god, like so that's why I think. And again, literally, do you see the wind?
The wind.
It's always the wind. It feels like Final Destination. Like the wind is here, there's trouble afoot. And I also like that she wins this moment, not by beating him up.
Yeah, no, it's just using.
I think it fits her character. I think it fits the story, and also the fact that Gal made the choice when filming. She said, "Yep, I changed my eyeline so I would look into the camera, so it's like I'm talking to the audience and telling you can save the day."
Yeah.
And I'm not the first person to be like, I love cheesy stuff, but like this is some cheese that was delicious. So
yeah. Well, I know, Kaleena, to go to your question, as you mentioned, the power level, I don't know if I don't want to say inconsistent, but at first I don't even know how the lasso made its way to get into Max's leg, unless it's like Doctor Strange's cloak that has a mind of its own and can figure out how to get past force fields. But I don't know. It didn't take me out of the moment, but I definitely, you know.
I love this speech. I love this entire sequence.
Beautiful lie. I'm literally trying to talk right now.
But I don't want to, again, give me shelter again with another super chat. Thank you so much for the awesome support. It is said, thank you to our host, Elliot. Should have said, this was a good time. Here to the end. Love the 80s. We got a lot of 80s themes, and I love it. But thank you so much, giving me shelter for the donation and stopping by and being awesome throughout the chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, I love this moment. Actually, it was funny. I texted Griffin when I was watching this for the first time. Like, I love that they brought in the Han score from Beautiful Lie of BVS. It's great.
It's just like, again, it's just such it's a phenomenal way to carry across a message musically. Like, that's something that not a lot of superhero films do. So good.
It's great. And it ties into, Maxwell Lord. It's all a lie. He's, it's this whole front.
She's so good in this scene.
She's great. She's great in this moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
This has been fun because I don't have like an Apple TV or anything fancy, so I've just had the movie muted with subtitles the whole time, but I can hear her voice, hear everyone's voice perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a lot of pushback for this, but it's my feelings.
Yeah, see it.
A problem for me with this film, like a pretty significant problem is, and maybe something has just gone over my head, so maybe y'all have like a better explanation for it, but I feel like there has been a major chunk of this third act where Max like legit forgot he had a kid. And then it almost feels like a story convenience when Diana brings it up that he's like, oh, shit, right, my kid. Okay, let's take care of I don't know. I don't know. I feel like he was forgotten about a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it speaks to, again, his the greed, getting the, muddling his mind and priorities. His son was less of a priority and more his goal to, ultimately please his son, but he actually forgot what made him want to be this powerful man. So, yeah. This flashback here. Yeah, did the flashback work for you guys to get this kind of backstory from Maxwell?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was a really, really great way to sort of contextualize his entire his actions, his thought process, all of that stuff.
Yeah. I see. How many times have you seen it, Jenevia? It hits you every time, right?
Well, I don't know, like my fourth time.
That's awesome. I love it.
These white people colonized the world for spices, and now they're making fun of him for eating tamales. I hate it here. I hate it. I need my tissues. Hold on.
No, this is great. Like you said, yeah, Griff. I love this moment here for the character. Again, this speaks to more than just your traditional villain.
Yeah.
I like this part showing him here, like just being like this like startup dude. That's all like spirit. Yeah.
Did they de-age him, or was that just Pedro? Just makeup wise, was that a de-aging thing that they used for him to make him look younger?
I don't know. If it was de-aged, it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it was just him.
You guys know he changed his name, right? He's not Maxwell Lord. He's Maxwell Lorenzano. But he has suffering from internalized racism, and that's why he's also lightening his hair and shaving and trying to make himself look less
hiding that side of
ethnic.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But they built up to him forgetting, like that's why he was, he hurt his son's feelings earlier on in the film because he was getting caught up in all his mess, and then he's escalating it. And Diana's the one who's like, yeah, this is what you did, and this is the price you're gonna have to pay if you don't renounce your wish.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what the lighting was like on set, specifically for Pedro. Like, and just the general element. Like, did he have like a full fan blowing his hair like that? Was it really like a golden light like that? Or was it totally dulled down and so much of this was done in post?
That's a good question. There it is. Announces his wish. And also, too, it's safe to assume that everyone, by renouncing his wish, no one lost their, everyone knows what happens, right? This doesn't wipe their memories of what just happened this day, right?
I mean, the continuity was already I don't know how much I can explain this without it taking forever. The continuity already got botched when they forced Patty to change the ending of the first film, because I literally just rewatched BVS last night, and she has a line where she says, I walked away from mankind 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was 100 years ago was the first Wonder Woman film. So the original ending was supposed to have her, Steve still dies, but the end, the logistics of how it ended was different. And she is like, I failed. So she walks away from helping. That's why there's this reluctance to get involved in BVS. Right. So the continuity is already going to be a little bit messy because of meddling.
They already said, I guess Zack Snyder's universe is kind of its own pocket universe. There's really no continuity between this film moving forward. Is that correct?
I mean, well, what it comes down to is the question of what stories do the other filmmakers want to. So for James Wan with Aquaman 2, and Ben's gonna do his Batman series or film or whatever on HBO Max. I don't know what Andy wants to do with Flash. So I mean, it's I don't, because we don't fully know what these other directors are doing with like the members of the league individually. So, oh God, this scene, I can't talk. I need to just watch this because this is like a master class right here.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
I don't understand the logistics of him just coming out of the tree. Like, he was just wandering around on the highway, right?
That's a good point. Maybe one of his last switches.
I'm confused, that's all.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a great moment. Yeah, I totally agree with Lawrence here. He owned this scene for sure. And Jay Manley, the innocent young boy, young child, all he wanted was love from his father. And that is true.
I really like this too because I think a lot of times in films, for whatever reason, Hollywood has like a weird relationship with men being affectionate, sometimes in general, but especially towards children. Like they usually say that for like women having really poignant moments. So I really like the vulnerability of just like pure love and affection in this.
No, it's a great call.
It's so good.
It's great. It's a great moment.
I'm glad this is at the end of the film because I just like cried half my makeup off.
No, it's great. It's good. So again, as we kind of wrap up the film here, Maxwell Lord,
husband and her daughters are in this.
Make an appearance. Yeah, that's really awesome. I love that they put them in there. But
and Patty's son.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Is this a Christmas movie? Is this a Die Hard conversation? Is Wonder Woman 84 a Christmas movie?
It's a Christmas movie. So this one kind of confuses me a little because other than obviously like the snow being a callback to the first scene of the movie, like especially in interviews, Gal keeps talking about how special this scene is in the context of the movie. And I get her conversation here with like not Steve, but I don't know. I feel like there's just been a lot of like emotional hype put on this scene and it never quite registered with me. And I don't really know why.
Well, she's finally learning to appreciate the small things, just like snow. You know, like it's just snow. I think everybody who has ever lived in snow is like, it's just snow, like calm down. But no, because
she did the snow thing in the first movie.
Yeah, in the first movie, she had, the snow was something she acknowledged. Yeah.
Ugh, Jesus, looks terrible.
Yeah, the swag is, that's not a good fit.
So Patty Jenkins' son, because it's being asked about in the comments, there's during like the mini montage, there's a 2-shot of a boy and a girl. It's Patty's son and one of Gal's daughters, and then I believe the following shot is Gal's husband and her youngest daughter on the carousel.
Yeah, right there. Or I think I'm a little ahead, but the guy with the white hair and the jacket is Gal's husband.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on social media and just like type it into a search bar, everybody has screen grabbed it and
pointed it out. Very cool. Very cool. There he is.
Yeah, because I don't think all of us are exactly in sync with each other, so it's a little difficult for us to go, okay, right there.
And there it is.
Is the red star balloon, is that just supposed to be like a nod to the outfit of Wonder Woman? I couldn't figure out if like the star specifically was something really, really important.
No, I think that's kind of what I thought. It was just a, her emblem on her, Wonder Woman thing, kind of a star, but it could be more to it. She is taking flight again.
But I think what makes me even more excited about Wonder Woman 3 is that I mean, I don't think that anybody has signed any contracts yet, but I think it goes without saying that Stone Quarry will be one of the production companies like involved with Wonder Woman 3. And, you know, if you've got Zach and Deborah on as co-producers with Gal and Patty, they're basically going to be like, what do you want to do? Okay, go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna mess with her because like that's not the type of people they are. And also they've been messed with. So they know firsthand that like that's not what you want to happen. So I'm really interested to see what Patty will do when people are just leaving her alone, like not messing with her.
Right. Yeah, I really excited to see where they take, which we'll get into here after we get this post-credits or mid-post-credit scene with Asteria and Linda Carter.
There's only one, right? I saw that one, but is there something at the end?
No, yeah, this is the only one here.
And it's even just a nice touch that her hair is like the same length, same style, so like people don't necessarily know right away that that's not Gal. But then when she turns around, and then it's like surprise.
It's a nice little awesome moment.
She's so regal. I love her.
She's so stunning.
See, she can wink because it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't like when Gal did the wink. I was like, no. Rob, you're not from that time period. Like,
it's Linda Carter.
Oh.
All right, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have the ending of Wonder Woman 1984, and just kind of round table style, starting with Jenevia. What's your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84 as a whole? Did it, first one versus the second one, all your pros and cons?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've pretty well articulated that, like, the kitschy camp opening scene, like, in 1984, it's just not my thing. But I respect Patty as an artist, so if she wanted to throw it in there, then like I'm fine with that. I like, again, if I want to nitpick the film, I can, but I don't want to. I like the themes. I like that it's another anti-war film because the first film was an anti-war film and this one was also an anti-war film. I feel like that's getting lost despite all the discourse that's happening with this film. People are not noting like, oh, this is a recurring thing of like Wonder Woman is about peace. First film was anti-war. This one is also anti-war. Where are Pedro Pascal's trophies? Can we send him some? What is his fan mail address? Let's give him his awards because he deserves them. My God, like right up there. See, that's the thing that I love about so many DCEU films is that even when you have villains or secondary characters, they're so well done and well put together as far as performance and material that people get attached to them. And then all these conversations happen where people are going, wait, can they have a spinoff? Can they have a sequel? Can they have their own thing? Can we get a prequel? And but I think that that's what all of these types of films should be. Like everyone needs to be on it. It should not just be that you get attached to the hero and that they're the selling point. I think everybody should be on it because then it's a total package. So yeah, no, I loved it. I don't even know if I articulated myself well. I'm just like emotionally shaky from crying again.
No,
didn't know I was gonna cry on stream, but there we have it.
I appreciate the tears and the passion, and I love it. And I guess, do you do a rating scale on your channel? Like, do you do like out of 10, out of 3, whatever, or out of 5? If you were to give a number to Wonder Woman, what I guess what's your score on the film?
No, because honestly, listen, I have a letterbox and I try to score stuff, but like honestly, I hate trying to quantify what I feel is a qualitative thing, which is discussing art. Like I just don't. Even when I try to rank things, I just end up getting frustrated and I struggle with it. So I don't know. I mean, because then it's like, okay, are you comparing it to the first film? Are you comparing it to all DC films? Are you comparing it to all superhero films? Are you just talking about how did it make you feel? Like I can't. So no, I don't have a score, but sorry.
No,
that was so long-winded. I could have just said no.
You're good. I love it. Chris, man, what's your thoughts, man? Just your general thoughts on the film. If you want to put a ranking to it, a letter grade, totally up to you. But just your general thoughts of Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah, for sure. I think Wonder Woman had a lot going against it, and anytime you have these crazy delays, it just makes it harder for the movie that gets pushed back. Like you probably listen to like rap. You remember like the Dr. Dre Detox thing, like how the album never came out.
Oh my gosh!
Imagine that album finally came out, and then like no matter what it was, people would say, "Oh, we waited this long for this." Like, so Wonder Woman is going to have that going against it, and it has less action, so people are going to complain about that. Yeah. I do still think it's not as good as the first one, me personally, but I will say, rewatching things and then even having a panel like this, you know, Jenevia, Kaleena, Griffin, like you guys are all making points that maybe I wouldn't have seen, even watching it alone, like by myself. It's like when you watch the director's cut about a movie, like it's like it makes you appreciate things that you didn't notice on the movie. So like, I wish everyone who watched Wonder Woman and complained about it, you know, watch your stream, Elliot, and you know they get something out of it too. But yeah, so overall, I increased my feeling about the movie from this panel. Still doesn't, you know, make it better than the first one in my opinion, but I do appreciate everyone's like contributions in the discussion that made me like, okay, cool, I see, I get it, I see the angle, you know, because I think that's where the healthy kind of discourse comes from. So that's where I'm at with it. I would give it under 3, but you know, like close to a 3 out of 5. I do 5 on my channel, so something around there.
I also hate trying to compare the two because I love villains, and it's so clear that the villains are better in this one than in the first one because you just spend so much more time with them. But I think that there's a certain level of cohesion where like the meddling in the first one was only with the third act. So I think it's like it's apples and oranges for me. So yeah, because somebody asked me that one time where they said, oh, you know, ranking between the two, and I'm going, well, I'm a simp for villains, so like that's very difficult to ask me to answer that.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's a sequel too, so sequels are already going to have a hard time keeping up with the first one. And then when the first one came out, I think we didn't expect it to be. I don't know. The reception was better than I thought it would be from like the community, from the world. Yeah. So like it's like Guardians of the Galaxy. That for me, that movie came out of nowhere, was great, and I was like, oh wow, this is a good movie. And then when the second one came out, everyone was, oh, it's not as good as. So I think it's kind of in a similar kind of vein. So it's like a victim of its own success, but that's where I'm at with it.
No, for sure, man. Well said, man. And Griffin, man, I know again, all these amazing content creators, check out their full reviews, spoiler reviews, and all that stuff. And I know Griffin made a video, and the thumbnail said "Why I Loved Wonder Woman 1984," man. So again, your thoughts, Griffin, your pros, cons, overall thoughts, and score if you would like of the film.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably better if just my whole like cohesive thoughts. If you just go check out the video I did, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen, I've seen this film like 3 or 4 times, and I love it, and I still feel the same way that I did the first time I watched it. I think it does a really good job of just like kind of like captivating you and sweeping you up in the emotionality of the moment, and while still telling a really good story that kind of speaks to a lot of what we go through as people and what is happening in our world today and whatnot, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's a beautiful film, and I love the fact that it's sort of like an homage to classic superhero movies, like obviously we mentioned Richard Donner and Sam Raimi, and I think that is so rare to see in comic book films these days. This movie is just like it's only concerned with just being its own thing and telling like a singular story, and just doing it really well, and uncovering like the true meaning of like a hero and stuff other than just like fists and stuff. So yeah, I love it. I think in my initial, I was on a big high the first time I saw it, and I gave it like a 9.5 out of 10. I'd probably back that down a little bit to like a probably an 8.5. I think. I mean I still stand by what I said in that review, but it's like when you're trying to come up with ratings at the time and you're just on this big high, you're like, oh my god, I fucking love this movie. So I'm probably around like an 8.5 or a 9 range for me. I think it's one of the best films in the DCEU for sure.
Awesome. Kaleena, Wonder Woman herself, what's your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84? And if you would like, put a score, letter grade to it, what would that be?
Yeah, so I kind of remain in the middle still. Like there's nothing that I hate about it. There's nothing that I think is horrible and should have been so different. Like the elements that don't work for me are really based in story, where I feel like maybe just some balls got dropped in the writer's room. And again, I say that knowing that I don't really have an understanding of like the behind the scenes, and like Jenevia has mentioned that a lot of stuff got kind of taken from Patty, and so maybe there's a version of this that in itself is different than what we're seeing. I think it's fun. I think there's like Griffin was saying, there's a lot of really fun kind of callbacks to like other series and movies before this. There's moments that I'm going to keep in my mind that I'll continue to associate with Gal's version of Wonder Woman when I think of. So it's I don't know where I would in the DCU necessarily. I initially had my rating on a scale of 10 at like a 6.5. But now after 3 viewings, that does feel like a little bit low. So I'd probably do like a 7 or a 7.5.
Hey, love it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, all these great content creators, all of their stuff, their links to their YouTubes, their Twitters, all that stuff is in the description. So show them some love and show them some support and check out their content. And for me, I'm kind of still at the same point that as I was last week seeing it. 3.5 for me out of 5. It's I personally prefer the first Wonder Woman, but just as its own film, I had a lot of fun with it. It was a throwback to an older kind of generation of comic book characters. It was a throwback to Linda Carter's Wonder Woman itself. I enjoyed the performances. There are some, nitpicking things and some story beats I wish were a little bit more implemented more regarding maybe just fleshing out just one villain versus having 2 villains. Because I felt like Cheetah at the end and Barbara's story wasn't as well-rounded as Pedro or Pascal as Maxwell Lord. So still love Patty, love Gal. Can't wait to see what they have for us in Wonder Woman 3. But this is a fun film, and I truly don't understand all the hate the film gets. But hey, that's the times we live in. People got to pick apart things that make it it's the worst movie ever. It's the worst comic book movie. To each his own, but I really enjoyed this film. But wrapping this up, I would love to know you all's kind of rankings if you guys have. I know, Genevieve, you made a list. If you want to go ahead and start your rankings, including
I
one
was
of
attempting to. Struggling. Like, it's a lot of ties because I was like, well, I love them for different reasons. And it's literally, I like all of them except for Justice League, and it's not Justice League, it's Justice League, because that horrible man is a horrible person, and I'm not going to air out everything he did, but like, so that's the bottom, very obviously, and it's also the only one that I disliked. Above that, I started kind of knocking out some of the theatrical versions that have like longer versions, so I put like Suicide Squad theatrical and BBS theatrical, just because like I would rather watch the extended versions. And then Suicide Squad extended because it had a couple above that. There was like some more scenes added in. But honestly, like, we're gonna get David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and I'm super excited to see his like original version fully restored because like it's gonna be better. And then I think, what did I put above that? I think above that I put Shazam and Wonder Woman 1984 because I love both of them, but I don't know. I think maybe visually there were some things that, I don't know, maybe they just don't look as expensive as I don't know. I love both of them. Like, so it's just like ranking stuff that I love. So I don't know, but I love the villains. I love the emotional heart of the stories. And then above that, I put the first Wonder Woman and Aquaman, which were both great. Great origin stories for both of those characters. Aquaman like needs more love. I know it like broke $1 billion at the box office, but I want people to start talking about it again because it's so good. And Patrick Wilson as Orm, like, listen, I love a good villain. And also Temuera Morrison, an icon, a legend, we stan. And then above that, I put BVS Ultimate because it's a genius. I can't even believe how dense that film is. It's got so many brilliant things in it. And Birds of Prey, which I love because it's just, I can't get into everything that I love about Birds of Prey, but also like the easiest way for me to summarize it is that I love it in a very similar way to the way that I love Charlie's Angels 2000, which is like, I made an entire video essay about Charlie's Angels 2000. And then my favorite is Man of Steel because it's Man of Steel, and Michael Shannon is an icon. Like, I can't even believe like that villains existed before Michael Shannon's General Zod. Like, the part where it's just a shot of him close up on Krypton and his eyebrows arched, I'm like, Oscar. Where is your Oscar, sir?
Right.
Sorry.
I will find you, Kal-El. Yeah, I love General Zod and Michael Shannon. I love that film. But yeah, Chris, man, what's your rankings on the DCEU? All 9 films, man. What's your list looking like, man?
All right, so let me. I guess I'll go in reverse order. So this is from 9 to 1. So, and because of this viewing, I have changed Wonder Woman 1984. So thank you, congrats.
It's okay.
So last place, number 9, I have Suicide Squad. No, it's not. I don't like it, and I didn't see. I guess I'll look out for the new version. Number 8, I have Justice League. Like I said, I rewatched that today. I don't know the controversy that. I don't know the controversy that you're talking about, and I hope
racism, sexism, and like pick an ism, and it was.
Is that about a person or in the movie, or the person that made the movie?
A lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes, but also the film itself is trash. I don't want to air. Some of the stuff is super, super personal and like isn't even. If you want to talk about it after we stop broadcasting, maybe I'll talk more specifics. But
I probably don't, but. I for the movie, if we're just talking about the art, I put it as number 8. Number 7, I just moved Wonder Woman 1984. Congrats, Wonder Woman Part 2. You got a little bump there. Number 6, I have Aquaman. So a couple of these, like Aquaman, I only saw once in the theater. So like, I think there's value in rewatching things. So I only saw it once in the theater. I thought it was really good. So, but maybe if I watch it again, it might move around. But number 6, Aquaman, I thought, I mean, that dude, no one else could play Aquaman ever again. It's not going to be fair.
Oh, man.
Is your favorite part when Amber eats a rose because look.
That guy,
is your favorite part when Pitbull plays when they emerge from the ocean?
Pitbull should never be. Pitbull should not be allowed to make movie music. All right, that's number 6, Aquaman. Number 5, Batman v Superman. I have the ultimate version on my iTunes thing, and I don't even remember what the other original was, but I put that there. I thought that movie gets a lot of flack unfairly. It's not terrible. I think it's a good movie. Yeah. Number 4, Man of Steel. A lot of my friends give that movie a lot of flack. I love that movie, and I think it was like it's hard to make a movie like this. Like a Superman movie is not easy to make, or there's so many fans, there's so many comic book, versions. Like it's just tough to make it. And I was like, this is it. Like as soon as in the beginning when they're gonna send Kal-El to Earth, and then the mom's like, they're gonna kill him, and then his dad's like, how? I was like, this is it. Number 3, Wonder Woman Part 1. I was very surprised with that movie. I was very happy with that movie. Gal Gadot, I was just like, wow, you're like, this is elite. So I was very happy with that film. Number 2, Birds of Prey, which I'm sure that's probably like a hot take, but I just like that movie. I think in the world of the critics, it's a hot take. I love Birds of Prey. I don't know. I like the movie. I love Margot Robbie with all of my heart. I love Harley Quinn character. It's just not easy to take on that role, but for her, she just does it flawlessly. I love like a movie where like women are just doing badass things. That was like one of the few female directors. I thought she just did a good job. Kathy, I believe.
Kathy.
Yep. And number 1, Shazam. I only saw that once in the theater, and I remember leaving the theater saying, wow, this is like so good. Like I'm so surprised that this movie's so good. Yeah. I just had and I like that the movie like built like the whole ending piece with the whole like other like the rest of the team. I was like, oh wow, like it doesn't even like trail off. It's like it just builds for later. So I was very happy with that movie, and that is my official ranking. No other changes will be made. It's locked in stone.
Do you follow David Sandberg, the director, on Twitter? Because if you don't, you should.
No.
Hilarious.
He is hilarious. That's
right.
He is a great.
I'm gonna add that to my Twitter followers. But that's legit. That's my list.
Yeah, he's great. And great list. Griffin, man, what's on your 1 through now? Your 9 through 1 for the DC universe, man.
The shitty Justice League at the bottom. Suicide Squad. Aquaman is number 7. This is basically 7 on up. I all enjoy. It's just Aquaman is if we talk about camp and how it differs from Wonder Woman 84, I just feel like Wonder Woman 84 kind of understood what it was trying to do with the camp, and like Aquaman, it's a little tonally inconsistent. I think it's a good like Saturday morning cartoon kind of movie, but can't say I revisit it all that much, but I like that it got weird, so we'll go with that. Number 6, Shazam. There's no reason why I have it this low. I just have never had I just don't really want to revisit it for whatever reason. Like, it's good. I think it's really sweet, and I don't know. Like, I have nothing negative to say about it other than I just like never revisit it. So I have that at 6. Number 5 and number 4, I kind of am going back and forth, but right now I have BVS Ultimate, and then 4 I have Wonder Woman 84. Two completely different kind of films, but right, I don't know, maybe I'm just on a Wonder Woman 84 high right now, so I have that a little bit higher, but I adore both movies a lot. Number 2, I have Wonder Woman, the first one. Amazing. Obviously, not much else to be said. Or sorry, did I say 2? I meant 3. Number 3, Wonder Woman.
You should be up to 3.
Number 2, Birds of Prey, because that movie's. Yeah. Number 2 is Birds of Prey, because that movie fucking rocks. It's so fucking good. And then number 1 is Man of Steel. So
awesome.
Yes, my guy. Yes.
Awesome.
Kaleena,
what about you?
Is great. It's a masterpiece.
Awesome. It's a great score. One of my favorite Hans Zimmer score. And Henry Cavill's he's my Superman. He's my favorite Superman character, actor playing the role. But Kaleena, what's your DC universe films in regards to rank? Because I know you say you haven't seen like the BVS, Ultimate Fun and whatnot, but what's your list there?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm only going to give like a half answer because one, I'm not going to pretend like I care more than I do, because I don't. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, I owe an earned rewatch to like Man of Steel. I owe a watch to Ultimate Edition. So I'm not going to give a full ranking because it wouldn't really be accurate of what I think. So first, Wonder Woman is my number 1. Birds of Prey is my number 2. I think even despite what 2020 was, it would have been one of my top films of the year. It really deeply pisses me off as a woman in film that we had not only like a women-led film, it was behind the scenes, predominantly women, female characters that are flawed, which is so fucking important. To have women who are fucked up and have problems and are not really good, that is the kind of representation that I want to see on screen. And then the fact that the movie was just genuinely good, it was like well done filmmaking on top of it. And collectively, we failed that movie to the point that they don't even know if they're going to keep making them.
I saw that film 7 times at the cinema, so
nice.
You're not putting that on me. We're not putting that on me.
It irritates me in a way that I really can't even put into words. So Birds of Prey number 2, Shazam number 3, because I just had so much goddamn fun with that film. I think Zachary Levi is just so easy to watch on screen. And I generally just overall tend to hate child actors. I just never think of child employees. And they're not really children in that film, but they were all really fun. So then anything after my number 3, I'm not informed enough to make a list after that. So I'll leave it to my top 3.
Man, I wanted to find Billy's mother. Would that?
Oh yeah, that moment. Yeah, I'm excited for David F. Sandberg's sequel to Shazam and seeing the whole Shazam family in the full film this time around. But no, you all have great lists. It's all your list, and I love it. But my list, starting with number 9, is Suicide Squad. Number 8, Justice League. Aquaman comes in at number 7 for me. Birds of Prey comes in at 6. Wonder Woman 1984 comes in at 5. Shazam at 4. BVS at 3. Man of Steel at 2. And Wonder Woman 2017 at my number 1. So those are our lists, kind of wrapping this stream up in regards to just kind of, again, the future of the DCEU mixed in with a little bit of Wonder Woman 3 ideas. If you guys were to pitch, if you're in the meeting room with Patty, she says she just, invites you in the pitch room and she says, hey, what do you think of this idea? What would you all like to see in the future Wonder Woman 3? I'll start with Griffin this time on the future of this character.
I don't know. I don't really have, and maybe because I'm not like that in tune with like the Wonder Woman comic mythology and everything. I don't really have like a direction that I want it to go. It would be fun if they kind of went back into more of like the mythology, of the gods and Greek mythology and all stuff like that. So I don't know. Whatever Patty Jenkins wants to do, I'm fine with it. I'll be there. So.
I'll put a spin to that question. Steve Trevor, will we see him in a Wonder Woman 3?
No.
I don't want
And
him
I
to
don't
come
want to.
back. I don't, and I say that as someone who has been in love with Chris Pine since 2004, and all I want in life is for him to say, "You can step on my foot anytime, princess." But like, it would completely undermine the emotional arc that she went on to like let him go in this film. Yeah. So unless it's just like a cameo, like she just sees him because she's like thinking about him, but it's only like, but even that, I'm kind of like, we get it. Like I don't need him to come back again. Like I just don't. I'm not picky about what I want Patty to do, whatever she wants to do. I think it would be fun if we could get Asteria in a scene like with Wonder Woman. I think that would be awesome. Fun. I'm not going to insist on it because again, I want Patty to do what she wants. I'm also intrigued by the idea of like, what if she confronts her dad and we see Zeus? Like if Zeus is still alive? Because it would also give some weight to that. Yeah. Like depending on when they set the story, if they set it before BVS and she has that moment where Lex is at the gala and he mentions Zeus and she kind of is like, if she has an entire movie of fighting him, that would be kind of fun. But
nice.
But I don't need that. It's whatever Patty wants to do.
Definitely. Kaleena, any thoughts on a future Wonder Woman? I think Patty said that she has an idea for a third one. I think she even said she has an idea for a fourth one. But I think she did mention that she wants to have it in the present day. So with that kind of in context, what would you like to see Wonder Woman do? Not going back in time, but just in the present day. What kind of film would you like to see, whether it be 5 years from now?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Is like she has Star Wars and her. I'll have the Cleopatra. I think it's going to be quite a long time before we see Wonder Woman 3, and so what present day will mean at the time of filming versus like a year or two after that when it gets released will be very different. But I don't really have a different thought than anyone else does. I mean, I don't think Patty Jenkins was ever required to prove herself in general, but I think she's more than proven her capabilities and proven that she understands the character and she's the right person to be kind of helming this franchise. So again, what everyone else says, whatever Patty wants to do, I'm going to be there for it. I don't know shit about the comics. I'm not in her shoes. I'm not the person who's supposed to be coming up with the ideas. I agree that getting Zeus involved would be really fun. And my favorite thing about Wonder Woman is that she's always like leading with love and her objective is always peace.
Yeah.
So I really like when she is in like, I don't want to say moral conflict because I don't think her morals are ever out of line, but I like seeing when she's having to deal with like blatant wrongness or hostility and it makes her kind of challenge how she was raised and like what her values are. So with nothing specific in mind, I kind of would just like to see more of those challenges. But also I don't necessarily mean like her desolate and like dying alone or something like that. You know what I mean? But I like the challenge. And then honestly, I would love to go back to Thematic somehow. I think that the Amazonian women are so fucking fascinating and like a huge battle with them being led by Diana somehow. Not unlike the opening of Wonder Woman, the first one, but something that really involves them and kind of brings in like a familial element, I think would be interesting.
And then I guess same question regarding Steve Trevor returning. Would it?
I don't want
to bring him back.
In the same way that I don't want any of the Steves in the superhero movies to come back. Steve Rogers, he's gonna be a daddy. He's gonna be a husband. He's gonna be making bread. Like I don't. Once a character is put to bed with a soft blanket, fucking leave him there, man. Stop like the beast. Like I'm glad we got him back for Wonder Woman 2. I would have been emotionally flustered for selfish, personal Chris Pine related reasons if he wasn't back, but there's just no reason from a character standpoint to like put both him and Diana through that again. Yeah. And I honestly can't deal with like a third, oh my God, we have to leave each other. Love you forever. See you next time.
See you in the next one after you die again. Yeah. For sure. Chris, man, Wonder Woman 3 and coming out in 2028. What's your pitch for that film and what would you like to see? And I guess add another spin other than Steve coming back. I thought I read an article with Patty saying that if if it wasn't present day, that we might see a Justice League member team up with Wonder Woman potentially. So adding that to the mix, if there was another character from the Justice League or just the DC Comics, would you like to see her team up with a Shazam to maybe fight a Black Adam or something like that?
Well, that's like literally what I was gonna say, is because like I'm a big fan of all the superhero movies like with the team up. So like the idea of like Doctor Strange and like Spider-Man, like these like weird little partnerships. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. So like, and even though I watched the Forbidden Fruit today, Justice League, okay, but there's a scene with Aquaman and he's talking about, like he's like interacting with Diana and he's like, well, like our people used to fight each other, but that was a long time ago. So like maybe if they go back and revisit that or touch on that, like the Atlanteans versus like, the Amazonians or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's a good little angle there. But similar to most of the other people on the panel, I'm not really well versed on Wonder Woman from the comic book. So I don't have any kind of like obscure villain to bring in or anything like that. But that would be cool in my opinion. It's always good. Like you have to kind of take from the Marvel playbook. Like these guys are putting in Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 3. Like there's not enough money in the world for the box office to make if they all get on screen again. So it's like the more the merrier with these kind of movies. So if they want to keep up, that'll be a good idea.
Hey, it's again, in Patty I trust, and whether it is 5 or 6 years down the line, I can't wait to see what we get. As far as my pitch for Wonder Woman 3, I would like to see it in present day. I would also like to see, again, I know DC doesn't really have like this film connects to that film, this film has the repercussions of that film, but I would like to see some type of aftermath from whatever we get with the Flash movie, and having somehow Barry Allen is interfering with the universe and we get the return of the gods, because again, the gods are apparently killed off in Wonder Woman's world. So I would love to see her going against, like you guys said, Zeus, or having her go against some type of god and bring in, I don't know, Eva Green as a god, and Wonder Woman versus an Eva Green character would be amazing. So I would love to see that
scene with gods in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And he has involvement with Amazon. Like he literally called Connie Nielsen before they were going to, restore the Snyder cut and make that announcement. Before the announcement was even made, he called up Connie. It was basically like, are you cool with this? And she said, well, are you going to put back like all of the stuff that she wasn't in the theatrical cut? They cut all that out. But that they have her in the trailer now, the new trailer. I'm so excited, like to see all the Amazons like dealing with the mother box and just like chaos is erupting. Oh,
it's gonna be
bring
awesome.
it on.
And then my last little kind of pitch for Wonder Woman 3, again, whenever we get that Themyscira TV show or movie, I would hope that there is some type of connection there. And I would love to see Wonder Woman go back to Themyscira, even though she is forbidden to go back on the island. I would love to see her and her mom having a conversation and having some type of solution with that. And just going back to Themyscira in general would be nice to see. And then as far as Steve Trevor, there's precedents in the comments that he literally comes back a lot. There's like literally a Steve Trevor descendant who like his great grandson looks literally like Steve Trevor. So they like had that Steve Trevor in the comics for a while. And again, there is a Flashpoint movie coming out. So there is a way to bring, whether it's 1917 Steve Trevor back and pulling him from a portal, or just having another multiverse version of Steve Trevor. And maybe he doesn't even love Diana. Maybe that's like the new spin. Like he doesn't love her and she wants him to, like, she's wanted it to be the Steve, but it's not the same Steve that she knows. So there is still some type of ways to bring back Chris Pine if they want to do so, which I would imagine they do, but we'll see if he is making an appearance in a Wonder Woman 3. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our pitch for a Wonder Woman 3, our rankings, our thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984. 3-hour plus stream. I am so thankful for all of you all joining me on this. I'm looking at my clock now. I can't believe it's 2021. It just looks kind of weird looking at that number. New year. It's going to be a great year. I'm hoping for us all. But again, I can't thank my guests enough for joining me on this stream. I can't thank the people in the stream for watching us for 3 hours talking about the film. I want nothing but the best for the DC Universe in 2021 with the TV shows and Suicide Squad and all that stuff. I think the future is looking bright for this universe. So really,
David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
The ending with the mother box.
Yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League cut. Give it to me all. I can't wait. But roundtable style, wrapping up with my guests, starting off with Kaleena. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I had so much fun talking Wonder Woman and just DC with you, and hope to get you on the channel again in the future. But if you want to let everyone know where they can find you, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you can find me across social media at Shut Up Kaleena. Wrong way. With a bunch of hot takes and opinions that most people don't agree with. So
Awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Griffin, man, again, it's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend, man. I look forward to talking maybe some WandaVision in the next few weeks, man, in the Marvel universe. But man, where can the people find you? What's a next video we can expect from the great people over at FilmSpeak, man?
Yeah, so yeah, you can head on over to the FilmSpeak channel and check out all the cool stuff we got going on over there. I am I'm definitely going to be dropping a video essay on Tenet on January 5th, so keep an eye out for that. And then if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at Griffin Schiller.
Yeah, guys, the guy has an amazing channel, has a lot of great video essays. I'm looking forward to that Tenet video essay, man. I know it's going to be awesome. And then my man Chris here, Take, man, where can the people find you? What's something we can look forward to on your YouTube channel, man, as far as future content?
Yeah, for sure. Everyone can find me on my YouTube page at Tate's Take. This is in the description of this video. All my social media is linked in my About page, my Instagram, my Twitter, my email address. My next video drops on Monday. I'm doing a Netflix documentary review, which is literally crazy. So look out for that. But I'm just really thankful that he invited me on the stream tonight. And I'm looking forward to watching all of your videos that joined me on the panel today, because I'm always looking for new content. And you guys all sound like you have some crazy good opinions. So I'm looking forward to the future partnerships with you guys. So I just want to say thanks again and just happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome. I can't wait to see what that doc is, because I love when your cold opens with the jokes throughout your reviews are just awesome, man. So keep up the great work. And again, check out his channel, man. He has some great content. And last but certainly not least, Lady Jenevia, where can the people find you? When can we expect maybe that special video essay that you were talking about at the beginning?
Well, I actually have to, after this stream is finished, I have to rewatch Sucker Punch, because that's the last Zack Snyder film that I have to rewatch and take notes, and then I'm going to finish my script and record it. I have no idea how long that's going to take, but I'm aiming to publish that video essay this month. Other upcoming content is going to be reviews on some of the Apple TV series, because a lot of them are starting back up in the... I can literally see my tear stains on my makeup. I'm so sorry. That just is so embarrassing.
You're good.
Pedro, Pascal, what did you do to me? Anyway, yeah, so reviews are, I can't can I just sit back like this? Okay. I'm gonna have reviews of Apple TV series for the next couple months while those shows are airing. And yeah, I'm working on some of my bigger video essay ideas that I've had for a while that I've been wanting to make. And you know what? This last year has showed us that life is short and we don't know how much time we have. So I'm going to stop wasting time and get into that. But my Zack Snyder video essay that I've been working on, it's one that I feel super strongly about. I'm super passionate about the topic. It's just something that, I see a lot of really bad discourse about Zack as an artist and Zack's films specifically, and stuff that offends me, as a woman, where it's you're trying to be offended on my behalf, and I don't like that. I don't like when people do that. So yeah, I'm kind of low-key giving away what it's about, but yeah, can you take me on full screen, because I'm really embarrassed by my giant tears.
You're good. It shows the passion that you have for these DC films, and I love it. And I can't wait to see the Snyder essay. Are we gonna have multiple cuts? Like Zack Snyder's gonna be a multiple cuts of your video essay? Can we expect multiple versions of it?
Pages of script, so it's and I still have an entire film to finish my last night. It literally feels like I'm writing an essay, because it's okay, here's my topic, here's my intro, here are my 3 supporting points, and but it's in depth. I cover everything that he's done in his filmography as a director, except for Legend of the Guardians, just because it's not relevant to my topic.
I can't wait to check it out, and also look forward to seeing your coverage on. I think we're getting Dickinson later this week, and then Servant the next week, and I'm going to those shows, so I'm excited to see your coverage on that, because those are some.
Have you seen Dickinson season 2?
Oh, yeah, I love Dickinson. Yeah, I have
I love it.
Big fan. Haley Steinfeld is great. So there you have it. This wonderful panel. Again, everyone, you can follow them, you can support them, check out their content. As you all can see from this 3 hours, they know what they're talking about. They have a lot of great takes, a lot of great opinions, and that's why we had them on tonight. So again, to my guests, everyone in the stream, in the chat, watch this on the replay. Happy New Year. Hope you all enjoyed it. Be kind to each other. It's a new year. We can learn from our mistakes from last year, and let's implement those things of learning and becoming better people, and be more like Wonder Woman and care for one another. So with that being said, you all have a great night, and we'll see you all on the next video. Take care, everybody.